And welcome everyone to Nerd TV for another full throttle sim racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, coming at you live this time from the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway, where I myself spent about 8 or 9 hours on Saturday enjoying all the weather down there and some good racing. On the track, 100 degrees on the surface, 79 in the skies, about 50% humidity, partly cloudy, and 7-mile-an-hour winds, which may or may not play a factor in tonight's race this evening. My name is Jay Stan, aka Jay Swifty. To my right hand side, Jason Rockefeller. How's it going from Homestead on your camera angle this evening?
It's going good, man. I'm just, hanging out around the back straightaway right now. Not like there's no cars coming or anything like that. Um, but I'm really looking forward to this race, Jeremy. I mean, we saw a really, really good race yesterday in the Cup Series race. We saw a really good race on Saturday, as well, between the trucks and the Xfinity Series cars. But you really can't compare those compared to the next gen. What we saw on Sunday. Sunday's product was a lot different compared to Saturday's truck and Xfinity Series race. You saw a lot of guys running probably closer to the wall than most just because of the amount of downforce on these cars in the rear and stuff like that, plus the humidity, the heat, the old track surface here. It's so gruesome. It's so tacky, I guess. I'm using a dirt term there, but it's so tacky and whatnot. There's a lot of grip, but you're already seeing drivers start to go into the wall here. It's going to be a really hot one. You're going to see a lot of slip and slide and a lot of multi-groove racing, just like we did last week.
Yeah, 100%. You're going to probably see some half-ass slide jobs and some number fives crashing into sand barrels, too, if it plays out how it did yesterday. I can make fun of that because Kyle Larson's my driver, so thankfully still locked in the round of 4 regardless. But yeah, here looks like we have 31 entries, at least drivers that have entered and come in and out of the server. 31 guys. So it's great to see these FTSR drivers having at least a 30 car count here, especially at Homestead. I love this place. This is the second closest NASCAR track to me, at least on the big circuit anyway. So the multi-groove surface, I wish you could run right up against the wall. You can for the most part, but not like they can in the real life. But you will see some people run that third, fourth, fifth groove, trying anything they can to get the grip they need around this track here this evening.
Yeah, and the closer you get to that wall, obviously, with that air coming around down the right side of that car, Jeremy, it's going to create that pocket of air, and it creates a little bit of side force between right at the cushion of the wall, another dirt term, and then right on that right rear quarter panel all the way to the door of the fender. It'll create like a pocket of air, and that air will kind of pressure the car and put enough pressure on it to where it's going to push it off the wall, and in fact gives you a lot of grip where you feel like you could rotate that car a lot better than what you could on that bottom to the middle of the racetrack. So the closer you get to that wall here tonight is probably what's going to make you have the most fastest time here tonight.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see a lot of people utilizing the second groove. You don't see that on a non-progressive banking track, but since it's progressive banked, that middle groove does come into play. We're starting to see some people in practice late in this going, like Jose Acosta. He's really trying to run up that outside wall. And if you can do it well and you can finesse it, it does work pretty well. You just have to watch out for the tire wear on the iRacing virtual service. When you run higher speeds in the corner, it equals more tire wear. So that's something you have to watch out here for this evening as well.
Yeah, definitely. In this track surface, we talked about it. It's so abrasive, it's so old, and you really can compare this racetrack. I know Dale Jr. in yesterday's broadcast compared it to Kansas Speedway, and it really is. It's like a Kansas Speedway. It's like a Las Vegas. We went from a 1.5 mile D-shaped oval last week to now a full 1.5 mile regular oval. And they're both fairly similar with degrees of banking and whatnot. Just wider radius of turns and whatnot here at Homestead compared to Las Vegas. But Jeremy, we saw one hell of a race last week. I'm definitely expecting the same tonight. Obviously, everybody knows by now after the near 2 years of completion under the belt with this new car. Everybody knows now that this car performs on the mile and a half, which is funny because this car was meant to be good on road courses and whatnot and the short tracks and stuff like that and mile and a half. But obviously, from what we've seen so far, it's only benefited the mile and a half. It hasn't really done too well on the short tracks, hasn't really done too well on the road courses. So every time we go to a mile and a half, Jeremy, like we used to with Kansas, Charlotte, you used to get really bored seeing those races. Not really excited, but nowadays with this new car, how hard it is to drive with all the downforce it has in the rear too. It's a really fun one to watch.
Yeah, and the mile and a half being so good, that was like a hidden gem because I remember they tested that Bowman Gray and a bunch of other tracks that were not mile and a half related, and kind of thought they had it okay, but it just turned out they need some work. And I think it's that wider tire base too, with the excess amount of brake that they have in these cars. It just kind of stales things out. You can't really have options because of no tire wear and this and that. But we have kicked it over to qualifying. Practice is over. Fastest guy on the track in practice is the number 5 of Fred Moreau. But it looks like we're gonna jump on the 19's camera. That's gonna be Richie Coy's Valvoline Ford Mustang here. Let's see what he can do around this mile and a half circuit.
Yeah, he's probably going to run here right up against the wall once he gets to turn 3, if I had to imagine. Because he's only going to get like 1 or 2 laps right here. So you can see him, he's going to run the middle lane instead. Maybe Richie's going to try to run the bottom. Doesn't want to get up to the top side yet. He's going to throw away this first lap possibly. This second lap here is really what's going to be key. And you know what the thing is too, Jeremy, is a big concern with this car too, with obviously you talked about the wider, the low profile tire. There hasn't really been a lot of wear. But with these mile and a halves, especially a Kansas, a Darlington, a Homestead like tonight, there is an excessive amount of tire wear here. Yesterday, these guys were falling off the pace after 5 laps. They were going past the second in the real Cup Series race. Tonight, who knows what we could see in 5 laps, 10 laps, 25 laps. We could be going almost maybe 2.5, 3 seconds of fall off here on these long runs. And these tire life is only about 35, 40 laps. So we'll have to see. And not Brody Hanna, but Richie Coy, 4th up on the board. Here's an interesting cam here tonight for the first time, presented by IROC 93.5. Joseph Grijalva earned his first podium last week at Las Vegas. Drove all the way up through the field, and here he is right now trying to complete his lap.
Yeah, rocking the VR headset. One of 2 drivers, Tony Solara in the 11. He rocks the VR headset every single weekend. And Jose Grijalva also looks like to do the same thing. So that's kind of cool to see some versatility on the driver setups, this and that. So I see Brian Fine in our YouTube chat saying, "What's up, nerds?" Taking a line from Richie Coy, but nonetheless, appreciate you joining in, Mr. Brian Fine. Hopefully you're having a good night this evening and ready for some Homestead action. Maybe you can learn like you did a couple weeks ago in our broadcast what to do for tomorrow night's race as you guys try to tackle the 1.5 mile Homestead-Miami Speedway. As we jump over to Ryan Chapman's car, and he got really wicked loose there off of turn 2. And turn 2, you definitely get more loose because the corner exit is a lot sharper in comparison to turn 4. But nonetheless, you see Ryan's just loose all over the place.
Yeah, you see, I feel opposite, Jeremy. Whenever I came here to Homestead, I always felt like I got really loose on the exit of 4 rather than 2. I felt like my entry to 1 and 2 was so awkward that I could never slip up off the corner. I mean, don't get me wrong, you will slip up. I've had my slip ups, but off turns 3 and 4 there, it's a little bit different. You could take that entry a little bit differently, just because I feel like, from my standpoint, the barrier comes out at you when you try to run the wall. Heading into turn 1 rather than 3 and 4, you could really stay right up against it. And if you just try to push the car a little bit too hard, you just kind of slip and slide. But really, you're going to see that all over the racetrack tonight, on entry and center, on exit. It doesn't matter. This track surface is very abrasive, like we talked about. And it's going to create a lot of controversy and a lot of slip and slide for these guys.
Yeah, 100% here. We have just over 1 minute left in this qualifying session. We're going to jump to the 06. Daniel Simmons is roof camera here as he goes down the back straightaway. Right now, Brody Hannon, the 23, actually holds the pole with a 32.648 over second place Jamie Knopp, 32.665, and then 668 goes to Nicholas Moreau. So really close times within this top 3. Daniel Simmons completes his final lap of this qualifying session, and it looks like it's going to put him P4 there with a 32.693.
Yeah, great run there, and here's Robert Milikian right now. This 22 machine looks like he's slowing up right now. I believe, yes, that is going to be his lap. It is finished 33.45 compared to Brody Hanna's 32.6. So a not so good lap there for Robert Milikian. Needs to have a great night. And speaking of needing to have a great night, not only do he has to have a good night, but Michael Blackner, Lane Allen, they have to have good nights. They are 14 or more points back of the cutoff line. And Jamie Knopp only out by 8 points here tonight. he needs to have a good night if he wants to try to get above that cutoff line, or just in general, at least stay around it so he can contend going into Martinsville next week.
Yeah, this is race 2 of 3 of the round at 8. So we got this week, next week, and then the week after, and that's it. Then we're going to the off season, and we crown a champion 2 weeks from tonight. As qualifying does finish up there, Brody Hanna still stays at the top of the board in that 23. I think that's his first pole in the 2023 season. So the rocket ship like that, expect that 23 to be up front all night long. But these cars are going to hit grid here in just a moment. We'll have our cameraman slash producer, Mr. Dustin Logston, go down the very throwback-ish camera down the center of the 2 rows in pit road, and we're going to go ahead and run down that running order right now. 23, Brody Hanna, P1, 84, Jamie Knopp's going to start in second. Nicholas Moreau in the 15 is going to be in third. Daniel Simmons in fourth. Jeff Chandler in fifth. Richie Coy sixth. Jose Grijalva in seventh. Lane Allen 8th. Last week's winner, Jose Acosta, in 9th, and Michael Blackner starts in 10th.
You got your top 20 here tonight. In 11th, you have TJ Bartel. 12th goes to Wayne Grossi. Had a strong run last week in Vegas. 13th, Joshua Johnson. 14th is that 44 machine of Chris Beck, as always. Daniel LaFleur. Justin Diltz coming off of a 6th-place run. Impressive run for him last week in Vegas. He'll start 16th. 17th, Tony Solari. 18th, Kyle Milliken and the Martini and Rossi machine, as always. Kyle Milliken there. That's actually Robert Milliken. My apologies. Robert Milliken and Chad Lang with the Kevin Harvick throwback that he ran yesterday. Always cool to see all the good paint schemes out here. Ryan Chapman, one of our IROC drivers, and Fred Moreau starting at the back like usual. Had a good shot to win last week. Unfortunately came up short. James Wallace, Brian Dublé, and then you have Ben Tracy and Ryan Hedrick, Sherwood Williford, Alan Duranco, Colton Gum, Steve Loomis, and Alan Crowell in 31st.
And that is the 31 car lineup here for the Homestead 250. Stage break's going to come at lap 55, and then we're going to go a full 167 laps in total for this evening, pending there is no green-white checkers, of course. And this is Homestead. Things can get really racy, or they can get really spaced out. Only time will tell to see how these setups do on the long run here, as Dustin usually has a really smooth drone camera, but this time it's a little rocky, so he'll probably get warmed up to it as the run goes on. But we're going to fly over the field here, at least the top 5, get a good look at the track. These cars are getting settled in behind the pace car. And we're going to go green flag racing, Jason, here in a half a lap.
I think this is going to be a great race, obviously. You know, you look at, everybody who's in this race tonight. There is a stacked field here, 31 drivers, lots and lots of cars have an opportunity to go to victory lane here tonight. The top 4 of the points, Richie Coy, Jeff Chandler, Brody Hanna, Chad Lang, they're doing great right now in the points. They just need to have good, solid nights. I think if you look for a guy to probably be really good here tonight, Jeremy, probably I'd have to say, why not Jose Acosta? Why not go back-to-back? I mean, the guy won last week in Vegas, had a great strategy call. He's one of our drivers, but Joseph Grijalva, he had a good run as well. Lots of guys have an opportunity to win here tonight.
2 of our drivers here tonight from the IROC 93.5 cameras, Jose Grijalva on the top, and of course our very casual Ryan Chapman there on the bottom of our 2 camera setup here. Green flag is out. This race is officially underway. Brody Hanna with a really decent start there is able to clear the 84 at Jamie Knopp getting the turn 1, and he's going to bring along the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. He's going to try to clear the 84 in 2.
And here comes Knopp on that outside lane trying to get around Moreau. Down the back straightaway. He'll tuck back in line. Jeff Chandler behind Daniel Simmons, who is ripping that fence pretty well in practice. They file back down to 3 and 4. Lots of drivers going bottom and middle. Nobody really running the top just yet. Probably because, Jeremy, like we saw yesterday, those tires, those fresh tires that you have on, they're good for about 5 or 10 laps running that bottom, and then you start to see guys run that wall.
Yeah, I saw a couple spaced out like the 87 here, Michael Blackner. He's one of the guys that jumps up early. I think a few car lengths behind him. The 44, Chris Beck, is doing the same thing. 57 as well, Joshua Johnson. He's going to go up to the top. I would expect the 02 to be up there. I would expect quite a few other guys to jump up there, but you're going to have to rubber in the bottom half of the track, and then you're going to start to see the line shift as well with the tire wear, what they do have at this track. You see the 57 run right up against that outside wall in the center of 3 and 4. but the leaders, the top 10, still stay single file on the bottom through 1 and 2.
Yeah, everybody goes back down to the bottom, just like I said right there. You know, those fresh tires are good for about 5 or 10 laps running that bottom. It's usually so dominant, but when the tires start to wear out, you run that bottom, you just slip and slide all over compared to that top lane. You feel like you could just ride that fine line that they say and really just rip that top of the racetrack.
Yeah, 100% there. I say Joe Grijalva there on the YouTube saying, let's do this. El Paso is watching. Go Army. So, of course, that is for Joseph Grijalva out there on the track, as he's got his cheerleader out there, a.k.a. his dad. As we get a little 3-wide action here through 1 and 2, Jason.
Yeah, lots of 3-wide action there. Right there, Joseph Grijalva, he's actually going to go through the middle. Uh-oh. I don't know if something just happened, if he got really loose, but he just lost 3 spots in the matter of 2 seconds right there. And you see him shaking his head right there, not liking what just happened and transpired going off turn number 2, but heading off turn 4. Looks like he's going to get a little bit loose, be able to clear right behind him. That's Fred Moreau trying to drive up from the back. Fred's already up 7 positions, but as for Joseph, he's already back 7 from where he started.
This is classic Fred Moreau right here to not qualify after having a really good practice session. This man easily gets the award almost every time for passing the most cars in a single race, and he is already doing it halfway through the field. Up 7 spots here, 15th place last time by, as he's behind the number 12 of Joseph Grijalva here off of turn 4, not able to make the pass. I noticed, at least on Saturday, Jason, when I watched it, every single restart throughout the entire field was 3 or 4 wide. Did not matter who and what it was, but you stacked them up. But these guys had a little more spaced outness on that initial start there, and we're probably going to see a lot of long green flag runs here this evening. As this field continues to space out. But right now, mid-pack looks like it's still pretty dicey back there.
Yeah, we very well, Jeremy, could see a lot of long green flag runs. We saw that in the Xfinity Series race, and we saw it in the Cup Series race. So, you know, we very well could have those long green flag runs. I know back at Vegas last week, we kept having some cautions. Then we had one long green flag run. Then we had a caution with around 40 laps to go, I want to say it was. And then we just kept having yellow after yellow after yellow. I believe we went into overtime once or twice. I think for sure we went into overtime at least once. But that was just such a hectic race. It could shape up to be that way today with the long green flag runs. And then obviously everybody on various different strategies could create some interesting races. You see Ryan Chapman really loose off the corner right in front of one of your playoff drivers, Sherwood Williford, up the racetrack in front of the field. He is stopped right at the start-finish line, and he's going to nose it back into the wall and almost come down, and that's going to bring out your first Roasted Gems coffee caution flag of the night right in front of Ben Tracy.
I have to laugh there because there was no caution as he spun in the back half of the field, but it took one car, Ben Tracy, to come around to race and go, hey, look, there's a yellow. But you see the 33 there make contact. So Ryan Chapman already came up on the radio, and he apologized, saying that was all him, my bad. But he got wicked loose off the corner exit of 4, and then Williford was just kind of a product of that situation.
Yeah, and the one thing that's going to interest me, Jeremy, is does this 4 have any damage to that right front or right rear? Because he ran into the back of Ryan Chapman trying to gather himself back up. And then the 33 ran right into the back of the 4 car. And remember, Chad Lang needs to have a solid night. He is right now holding that 4th and final spot above the cutoff.
You see the looseness there. Hits the 4, hits the 33. Domino effect, sends the 33 and just gets so close to Duranko's left rear of his car as he drives by Ryan Chapman as well. That was a really close call there for that 2 machine as they cycle back through behind the pace car. I think we're going to jump to our first picture-in-picture commercial break. Be back with you guys here shortly. And back to full screen here as we got just under a lap and a half left before we're going to go back to green flag action. And that'll be on resuming rather on lap 13. So it'll be a little bit of over 40 laps to go before we get to the stage break. And Jason, the top five didn't really change too much.
Yeah, no, nothing at all. Obviously, from when we started, I mean, Brody Hanna still out front. We didn't really run a lot of laps, so we don't really know who's got the better car right now. But you can really put out that obviously Fred Moreau's out here doing Fred Moreau things. He's already up 8 spots from where he started. And Joseph Grijalva looks like, he obviously has himself dealing with a handful. I mean, he's already dropped 8 spots from where he started. That's not good for the guy who just finished top 3 in his second race last week.
Yeah, no kidding, right? And I want to jump to the YouTube chats real quick before we go. Green flag, Doyle Lawrence on there finally saying, hello, nerds. Just got home from a San Antonio rather, mountain biking trip. And let's go, Jeff Chandler, of course. And then Brian Fine saying, let's go, Coy. So, of course, he stole the What's Up Nerds from Coy when he's cheering him on. That makes more sense as the 19 now is still residing in 6th place, has not moved up. Literally, the top 6 have not changed spots. 7th and 8th has flip-flopped, and 9th as well. And everybody else on back, who saw a lot of 2 wide and some 3 wide, those have switch spots. Pace car does dip down very late here. Brody's got a car length almost on the 84 coming to the green flag, and it is out. We're officially underway for the second start of tonight's race. Jamie Knopp in the 84 gets a nice little shove there on the front straightaway coming into turn number 1 to try to give him any momentum, but the inside's going to prevail as the cars are still building up speed.
Yeah, the 84 had a great restart there, Jeremy, heading into turn 1, but he just couldn't get the forward momentum going into turn 1 once they got through it, and that's why Brody Hanna able to pull away by about a car length now. You see the 84 trying to work the top lane on Nick Moreau, but it's just not able to clear him yet. Oh, and laid Allen sideways in front of the field, right in the back, creates a massive pile-up all the way down the home stretch, collects 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, possibly more cars. I saw a couple guys that looked like maybe playoff drivers, Jeremy, who were involved as well.
Yeah, the 14 just got a wicked loose throw on the bottom on exit of 4. Slides up right into the front of the 77. Bartel and pile drives him into the wall, and it's going to cross the nose over the 5 of Fred Moreau, then come down and hit the 87 of Michael Blackner, the 99 of Danny LaFleur. 57 residually hits the outside wall trying to avoid things, and I think I saw Justin Diltz as well very late in that wreck hit the wall after the start-finish line. So 6 cars, at least I noticed initially, with damage out of this one.
So 2 playoff cars by the looks of it. We talked about obviously the 14. You see him sliding right there. And then before, you had the 87 of Michael Blackner involved. And oh no, and Justin Deltz gets involved very late in the going there. And that number 91 machine praised him a little bit in the beginning of the broadcast there, going over the running order, or the starting lineup rather. He coming off a 6th place run at Vegas last week. That was a very impressive run there for Diltz. And here we're going to ride on board with Joseph Grijalva. And watch this, man. This is an uh-oh brown pants moment right down the front straightaway through all the carnage, watching all these guys wreck. Nearly gets clipped. We're going to have to see a third-person drone cam look at that, because that 11 car looks like he almost clipped the right rear of the 12.
And remember, Joseph here is on a VR camera, as we saw earlier, so to see that in a 3D perspective should have been crazy. You see the wreck there. There's your drone camera. Third person gets right around those 2, and then the 99, 14 comes down, and just, you got to think at any moment he's like, oh man, I'm going to get hit, and then gets cleared, and then probably has a huge sigh of relief as he clears out of the wrecking cars, gets to turn 1.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get clipped by an 11. It was the 99, so my apologies on that. But wow, Jeremy, not even a few laps in, and we've already had 2 cautions due to guys getting loose on the bottom of the middle lane there off turn number 4. So just getting loose and spinning it, really, just because of the fresh tires still, and whatnot. It's an interesting thing to happen. We didn't really see this yesterday in the Cup race, so it just goes to show you that these guys are in for a handful here tonight.
Yeah, Doyle Lawrence said to answer your question, the 14 just got loose. I saw right before that wreck initiated, the 87 in Blackner actually slid up and hit the 5 Fred Moreau's door panel. That didn't cause anything because that was a whole row back, but the 14 just had a really mean wobble. And what his car was doing is his right rear was hanging on that second groove where the progressive banking was, and his left sides, of course, are on the flatter part of the bottom of the turn 3 and 4. And that 1 degree of progressive banking had probably upset the suspension in the 14, running a little loose setup there in the beginning of the run, and kicked him sideways. Did a little overcorrection, and that's what set it off.
Yeah, and also too, Jeremy, look at what he's on right now. He's on one of those seams right there. That little black line you folks see here on the broadcast, that is one of those seams right there. You see TJ Bartel there in the shell car. He was driving right over the middle of that top seam, but that 14 was on that bottom seam. And if you get your right sides, especially that right rear on those seams, there is no grip. That is just track filler pretty much. In order to keep the pavement, on the racetrack and whatnot. And unfortunately, he just gets right on it. And then the car just starts to lose it because of, obviously, Jeremy, you talk about that 1 degree of banking from that bottom to the middle, then to the top. And that's what happened to the 14. Progressive banking plus, the seam, that's what sent the 14 around.
And Doyle, I mean, obviously we don't know what they're running underneath the cars for the setup wise, but I will tell you that Homestead, at least for me, and every time I drive this track, I get really tight, really tight. So what I like to do is I set my car up really loose on the short run and let the car just come to me over the long run. That's how I do that. So if these guys are doing the same thing, you're going to run this thing a little on the edge for the first 5-10 laps, and that's where Jason was talking about. You're going to wait for the mid run to see who is actually going to be competitive, because some of these guys are just kind of hang on, kind of take it easy on the throttle, don't really do anything to upset the car for the first few laps. And the long run will really give you a tell sign of who is going to be performing well here tonight.
I'm pretty sure, Jeremy, you meant to say tight, 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 like Christopher Bell did yesterday, because
Yes.
I kind of feel the exact same way when you come here. Is usually on those beginning parts of the run sometimes, especially here, with certain setups and whatnot, and obviously a fixed setup too, you could be very tight, you could be very loose. It all depends on your driving style, and that's the thing too. You run that bottom, I always felt like I got kind of tight, but then you run that top lane, you're just trying, to hold for dear life and not hit that outside wall, not realizing that being up close to that wall is actually going to help you. So driving style plus setup here tonight is definitely going to be something that we're going to be talking about for the rest of the night due to the 2 cautions we've already had this early on.
Yeah, it's all been out of turn 4 in qualifying. I was mentioning turn 2 is going to be the problem child. Well, I haven't seen anybody having issues in turn 2 yet, at least from the camera angles that I've been watching over here on my perspective. We're about to see this pace car dip down here for the 3rd time. We're going to go to green flag, top 5, still the same exact. 23 Brody Hand is going to do the same thing, lead about a half a car length here on the 84 at Jamie Nutt. Green flag is out. The 84 Reddit this time, he had 2 attempts prior, so he's going to actually get the nose on the 23 at Brody Hand coming to turn 1.
I thought the 15 there, Jeremy, of Nick Moreau was going to try to stick it right through the middle there because he had a run on the 23 and the 84, decided not to take it. He's going to slide right back in that 3rd spot like he's been doing to the top 3, residing in their starting position still here as they're coming around to complete lap 19.
And again, a little bit racier within the top 10 side by side right now. Jose Acosta and the 7 of Wayne Grassi here. Top 6 go single file. See almost some 3 wide there, about mid-pack. 91 Justin Diltz continuing to have some woes from that wreck. He comes down pit road to work on some more damage on that number 91 machine as we go on board with the IROC 93.5 camera of Joseph Grijalva here, looking at back at the 37 Brian Dublé, as more and more of these guys go back to single file action here like they were before the first caution.
And Grijalva's already made up a lot of spots from, when he first started here in the race. Remember, he dropped back about 9, 10, almost 11 spots in those first few laps. And then just because of that wreck, he was able to manage to get through it. Now finds himself up in 9th. So he's only 2 spots out from where he started, but still a great recovery despite having those early troubles for that 12 car.
Yeah, 100% there. Only down 2 spots from the starting spot here. We see a pass on the inside, at least attempt from the 47 Ryan Hedrick onto the 44 there of Chris Beck. And if your car is set up early enough to rotate well, you can make it happen. And there you go. You see the 47 make that pass on the 44. You're starting to see some shifting around behind the 4 of Chad Lang there in the 33 of Williford. As those guys had the damage from the first wreck anyways. So looks like their cars are basically repaired, at least visually wise, but speed wise they're still hanging in there.
Yeah, see real quick if we can get Dustin's lovely drone cam out there heading through 3 and 4 right now on that number 4 machine, because remember, he made contact with that right front and also got hit in the right rear, so it doesn't look like there's any damage there on that left side. But we're heading to the rear of the car now as we head towards this right side here. It doesn't look like there's any damage visibly on that right rear. I think the right front is probably what would concern me more if I were him, but no, absolutely no damage on that number 4 Budweiser machine. I think Chad Lang is good to go. He's just really, really far back right now in this middle of the pack.
Yeah, he just got hit squared maybe up to the right-hand side of his rear bumper, kind of like how Ryan Blaney did when Kyle Larson came in super hot down pit road yesterday. And so squared in the rear end, I think he's going to be just fine on that notion. That little, I thought I saw a crease there on the right front, right where the front bumper connects to the side panel. Just a very slight crease, but it's not really doing any performance hindering for that 4 car. You see the 57 continue to run the top. Oh, we got one car wicked loose there. That's going to be the 27 of Ryan Chapman, who just continues to have woes in this 2023 season. Definitely not having a good third half for the 2023 year.
Yeah, Ryan Chapman was a guy we spoke very, very highly about. He's had his ups and down moments here in 2023, both on the Truck Series side and here in the Cup Series. And, you know, I mean, he's had himself some shining moments, but again, just can't find his way, you know, into these spots that he feels like he deserves, whether it be a mistake, getting caught up in somebody else's mess, or simply just because he's not very fond of the setup. You know, I think back when I think back to races this year, I think about the Sim Racing Points Truck Series race back at where were we? It was the Milwaukee Mile. Had an abysmal race, or actually, I think it was Lucas Oil. We were at Lucas Oil. He had an abysmal race there. We went to Gateway with the Cup Series. He had a terrible race to the point where he just decided to park it, which I don't blame him. This second half of the season has been very, very rough for Ryan Chapman. He's just trying to look to recover and manage something here and salvage a good points day.
And it looks like Homestead's just on his place to be. I was looking at the Sim Racing Points Truck Series stats from this past Wednesday, and Ryan Chapman finished 13th place, 25.5 seconds back off the race leader, or race winner. That would have been the 29 of Tommy Schaefer. So just not having a great week here at Homestead, period, at least at the FTSR League, that is. I was starting to see some action here at the front. Top 3 are nose to tail here. 84 Jamie Knopp going to the inside of the 23 Brody Hanna. Brody's going to take the 3rd lane. Jamie Knopp's going to try the very low entrance. Going to hug the bottom here with the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. Off corner exit 4, dead heat, but the first lead change this evening. New leader, 84.
Yeah, great run there to the bottom by Jamie Knopp. I think if he just keeps working that bottom side, I think he's going to wear out the tires a little bit more than this 23. But here off turn number 2, he might clear this 23. In fact, he's gonna. Clears him down the back straightaway, but here comes Brody. He's got a nice little run there on the back straightaway. He'll head up to the top side, and we know how aggressive Brody Hanna can be in the early stages of this race. Remember last week at Las Vegas, tried to throw a block on the 15 of Nicholas Moreau, ended up turning himself and causing a lot of damage to that race car. Really rode around the back all day, but still managed to finish in a respectable position. So this 23, probably due to last week's incident, I'm sure he's learned his lesson from being aggressive early on in this race.
Yeah, and he's got a bad fast car tonight. You don't see him get too many poles, at least it has been in the back half of 2023. So to see him have a rocket ship in practice and qualifying in the 0.6 second bracket, that 23 has got a machine. He just has to take care of it. I see the 15 of Nicholas Moreau. He's going to go to the inside to try to pass him as well, entering turn number 1. We also saw, at least I did, the 31 Jeff Chandler wave on by the 06 of Daniel Simmons. He gave up 4th place. He's going to drop back single file to 5th. Right behind him, the 19 of Richie Coy. They start to space out behind these leaders, but here comes Brody Hanna back to the charge on the inside, going under the 15 under 3.
Yeah, great car for sure right now, Jeremy, on the short run. Remember, we've only run really a handful of laps. Oh! race for just a split second. Off turn number 4, he's able to save it. We're going to have to take a look at the replay on that one because I thought that 15 Jeremy was going to get so sideways. He was going to door check the 23 and head right back up into the wall there for a split second.
Yeah, he dipped down low on corner exit 4. This is just a sweeping corner exit. You see him right there. You saw the right rear kick out. Quickly had a turn to the right. The car almost overcorrected, and thankfully the 15 has a good grip on his steering wheel, able to keep it off the outside wall of turn 4, which I may kind of mentioned in practice a little bit, that turn 1 and turn 2 exit, it's a lot sharper, right? So the car, it's more predictable. When you get to the flat sweeping corners, when you have, you don't having too much wheel input, and the car wants to snap loose on you on the sweeping corners, it's a lot harder to kind of predict on how the car is going to feel when the tire wear especially starts to kick in. You see the 06 Daniel Simmons continuing to progress through this field. He's now going to try to pass the 15 Nick Moreau. This is going to put him in podium position P3 if he can make this thing complete.
Yeah, and you know something too, Jeremy? I said in the beginning of this race, I said that I thought Jose Acosta was the one to watch, and I wanted to look at Daniel Simmons too. And I didn't say it, but Daniel was one of the best guys at running the top side in practice when we were watching it. I think that this 06 machine definitely has something for these race leaders here tonight. Wait until we start getting up to that top lane. I think that this 06 machine is going to be the best at ripping that top side. He was about maybe not even a foot off that wall. Watch out for that 06 when they head to the top.
And so great racing here for second, third, and fourth. Brody's going to utilize the high side to keep his position in P2. Daniel Simmons is going to try the outside now of Nicholas Moreau in turn number 1. He's going to run the second to third groove just below the third groove seam. Gets a little loose there in between 1 and 2. He's going to have to get the position back up to Nicholas Moreau going down the back straightaway. And appreciate 20 viewers currently tuned into our broadcast right now, just over 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you guys joining us and watching, and chat away if you want. We'll gladly shout you out. But here go the 15 Nick Moreau back to the inside of the 23.
And this is just going to enable the 84 of Jamie Knopf to get away here, Jeremy, with the 15 and the 23 consistently swapping positions. And then you also throw Daniel Simmons into the mix as well. And if these guys continue to battle, look who's sitting there in 5th right now. Jeff Chandler sitting pretty in that 5th spot in that number 31 machine. Beautiful car as always. He's only back by about 9/10 of a second. It could be closing here. He's kind of trying to lock himself into the next round, obviously. The final 4. We haven't had a guy in the playoffs win a race yet. Obviously, 3 races in this, round of 8, like all the round styles that we do here in the playoffs. So one of these guys who is left in the playoffs looking to lock themselves in. Maybe it'll be Richie Coy, Jeff Chandler, Brody Hanna. Who knows? Maybe, we could see Jamie Knopf somehow do something. Right now, I mean, he came in back below the cutoff line minus 8 points and now finds himself in the race lead. It would be a great story if that 84 machine were to knock somebody out here tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sure he would love to do that. That means he gets a win underneath his belt late into the season, which, when you can get your wins, definitely do it with the competition that's provided on the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series side. 15, Nicholas Moreau gets pretty tight there on corner exit, has to really back it down. That's going to allow the 23 to zoom past, and there goes the 06. Almost had the 15 cleared. Gets to turn 3, has to check it up for a really low entry into turn 3, and now he's going to have to try to battle for third, and I think the 15s are starting to get more and more tight. He's unable to get down to full power on corner exit, and Daniel Simmons now up to 3rd place all by himself.
Yeah, and Jeff is now going down to the inside here. You're riding on board with him from the roof cam to the inside of Moreau, just not able to do it. And wow, what a slider there by Daniel Simmons. You talk about, Jeremy, early in the broadcast, the half-ass slides. That was not one by Daniel Simmons. That was a full slide job there off turn number 2, slid right up in front of the 23's front bumper. And that now allows the opportunity for Nicholas Moreau to possibly do the same thing. Not enough. They're going to remain side by side, both him and Hanna, into turn 1.
Excellent racing in those top 5, and these guys going at it has kind of brought everybody else in. That 31, the 12, the 19, and even the 24 of Jose Acosta. So really the top 7, top 8 are really hashing it out, minus your race leader, the 84, who had a just over 0.6 of a second lead over Daniel Simmons, who's now moved up to P2. is riding on board Joseph Grahava once more here off of turn 4, looking at the back bumper of the 31 of Jeff Chandler, who's rocking those pink colors for the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As you see, quite a few people do that in and out of the sim racing world. Almost made contact with him there in turn 1.
Yeah, Joseph just really had a hot entry going into 1, nearly ran to the right rear of Jeff Chandler off the corner, and now they're going to remain side by side, this time going into 3. And Joseph's had a really, really good recovery. Remember, found himself outside the top 15 earlier on in this race. We mentioned it beforehand, got through that big wreck, drove his way through it, earned a lot of positions, and now under this green flag run, Jeremy, he's already found himself up to the 5th spot if he can clear Jeff Chandler off too.
Ryan Hart here in 3 wide. The 12 is going to pinch the 31 in the center of the corner. Not going to make it happen. Gets him really loose actually there. Got too close. He caught a little wiggle there from the 31. It sent the 12 up. He had to keep the car from hitting the wall, so he backs up quite a few car lengths there. Brings in the 24, Jose Acosta. He got to the back bumper of this group, but the 1931 being side by side had to check it up momentarily. They go single file in front now. 24 can maybe focus on passing the 31.
I want to say, Jeremy, that last time around, just because the 12 put it right on the door of the 31, it caused Jeff to kind of, it sucked him back a little bit with that right rear. You put air on that right rear spoiler, you tend to drag guys back, and it can create, a lack of side force on that right side there. And unfortunately for him, the 12 put it on the door, and the 31 just started sliding up. And really, it's just a racing deal, obviously. No harm, no foul. But I think that the 12 of Joseph Grahava definitely learned his lesson, probably from putting it that close onto the 31's door that's earlier on in the race.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct there. These next-gen cars on both left and right over the rear tire, that tabletop of a fender, it is so flat for such a large amount of space. And so that puts down a lot of downforce on the rear of these cars. And if you take that air and you move it away from that right rear, of course it's going to get really loose or just change the grip, the handling of the car. As the 23 Brody Hanna runs it right up against that wall, which I'm pretty envious of Brody Hanna right now, able to run these really fast speeds while running the very top of the track. That is, I love when I can run the top of the track, so he's making the best of it. And he starts to drop back just a touch in turn 1 and 2. And some of these guys that are about 10th place, like you said, Jason, earlier, this long run is really going to show who's fast, and we're starting to see those guys creep up into the top 5.
Yeah, and the 23, obviously, you mentioned there for a second, nearly lost it off turn 4. He got up into the wall. He almost gets up into it again, but he's riding right up against that outside wall. He has lost a significant amount of positions here these last few laps. We're going to ride on board here with the right rear cam going into 1. Not going to run this top side this time by. He's going to get a little bit tight here, but maybe this time going into 3, he'll try to run that wall. But if I were to guess, Jeremy, just from this 23 not really gaining on that top side for the time being, and yeah, I was correct right there. I was going to say I was not anticipating him going back up to the top.
Yeah, we kind of utilized that camera when NASCAR showed it off at Darlington, and so it was a great idea from our producer Dustin to kind of replicate that camera once more. Once we start seeing a guy get up to the top of the wall here consistently, we might bring that camera back. And Brody's watching Dustin apparently, because as soon as Dustin pulls the camera, Brody moves back to the top half of the racetrack. Gets loose there off turn 2, so he's a little centered tight and then loose on exit. And here we go. We're going to see the 23 run up to the 3rd lane this time. Not going to get nearly as close to the wall, which I think if you're going to run the 3rd groove, you want to put that car right up against that wall, because you said, Jason, that air pocket that gets stuck between you and the car gets greater and greater in pressure and pushes your car away and gives you a faster rotation around these corners.
Yeah, and that's something obviously they talked about a lot in yesterday's broadcast, and it's something that we're going to be talking about here time and time again tonight. We haven't really seen anybody, though, Jeremy, surprisingly go up to the top of the racetrack. Usually you saw a lot in yesterday's Cup Series race. Most guys were running that middle to top groove, or rather the bottom or the top lane. You're not really seeing that. Most of these guys so far, they're running the bottom here early on.
Yeah, a lot of them are. There's a couple people in the back that are running that 3rd groove, but they're not running right up against the wall. I'm seeing like the 87 of Blackton or 27 of Chapman. They are utilizing the upper half of the track, but here in the top part of the field, top 15 or whatnot, not many takers in that third groove. They're all stuck to the first or second one. iRacing's preferred groove, if you run the preferred line visibly on the track, it's just on the lower half of the second seam, second groove. So we're seeing now the pass from the 12 underneath the 19 here of Koi, I do believe that is. Yes, it is. That's the Valvoline color I was looking for on the hood. As Dustin kind of gives me the little assist, looking outside that right front passenger window there, and he's basically all but cleared the 19, gets that position right before corner entry at 3.
Yeah, great clear there by Joseph Grajava off turn number 2, and now he's going to try to set his sights on Nick Moreau for the podium position. You see Jose Acosta, he's able to get past this 19 of Richie Coy here, heading into 1 and 2. And you know, Richie kind of had a solid night, a solid week last week in Vegas. It really wasn't anything special. I mean, he was up at the front, but we didn't really talk about him a lot. And really, the last few weeks, it's kind of been that way for Richie Code. We haven't really talked about him a lot. He's here, he's there. He's always up at the front. Don't get me wrong, but it just really hasn't, been, Richie Coy's, I think, races that he's wanted. Whoa! 12 car right in front of the 24, and Richie Coy is going to get the 2-for-1 deal here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway Restaurant, Bar, and Grill. And off turn number 4, this 24, I don't know if this 12 started getting loose, Jeremy, or what, but the 24, I saw him just smack the rear end here of this 12 car.
Yeah, it just got loose a lot. Had to check up, and of course the 24 was right there. Then Richie Coy was gifted there with a split down the middle into turn number 1, 2-for-1, as you said, on the same straightaway. And you were talking about the 19 of Richie Coy not having a strong run and whatnot. He finished 10th, 17 seconds back of the race winner here this past Wednesday in the Sim Racing Points Truck Series. So, no, one of those guys that you usually see up front just not having a great week here at Homestead.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys out here too who we're trying to, we hope, we want to see them run good, and unfortunately they just haven't really done that. Look at the 19, slides way up the track, almost nearly cleans out the 24, head off turn 3 and 4 there. But you look back at guys who aren't having the best nights either. Robert Malicki and Chad Lang, they're just struggling back there, just nearly shy outside the top 15. Lang's 14th, Malikian's in 17th right now. Those guys need good nights, and it has not been a good night at all for them. Obviously, Lane Allen as well. He is pretty much, after tonight, Jeremy, I'd have to say easily going to be in a must-win situation heading into Martinsville next week. And then Fred Moreau, the guy who always starts at the back, was starting to make his way up as well. He's all the way back in 26th right now. So for the fast man, as always, Fred Moreau, it's not looking like a race where he can go from the back to the front.
Yeah, a couple of guys seem to be struggling. For Chad Lang, he's running 14th right now, 12 seconds back of the race leader. He moves up to 13th, but still 12 and a half back. So he's inside the cut position in 4th place right now. So if Jamie Knopp continues to run the way he's doing, he's going to flip-flop this. We're going to be coming to 1 to go at the line for a stage break. We get to lap 55, so as soon as the 10th place car crosses the line, not this time, but next time, we will see that third caution presented by Roasted Gems Coffee come out, and Doyle Lawrence is concerned. Jeff Chandler, 4.6 back, 7th place right now. It's a long setup run for the 31's, not really there. He had some good intermediate speed, but that car has been tapering off quite a bit here.
Yeah, it's definitely fallen off just a slight bit, but I'm sure that Jeff can always make the right adjustments. He's always done it. So, I think that he can make his way back up to the front, no doubt about it. But Jamie Knopp's going to win this stage here, and a very impressive stage win for Jamie. Remember, he came into tonight 8 points out, so this is going to do a lot for him here. He's probably more than likely going to take over this position from Chad Lang in the point standings currently. And Chad needs to run better. He needs to have a good finish and kind of salvage whatever he can here in tonight's race due to the lack of performance he's provided.
Well, I just noticed too that Brody Hanna P11 at the line, so he's running top 3, top 5 all race long. Fails to make a stage point there, finishing in 11th. That car really fell off, so a little bit of adjustment's going to be needed either by the driver or by the car to get that thing staying in the top 10 here for the back half of this race. But we're going to jump to our second picture-in-picture commercial break. Be back with you guys shortly before the drop of the green flag for stage number 2.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back full screen here, just under 1 lap left before we're going to kick off stage number 2. This race will resume on lap number 60, so just over 100 laps left in this Homestead 250. 84 Jamie Knopp will resume as your race leader, first into pit road, first out of pit road. Daniel Simmons the same way, second. Nicholas Moreau is going to be in third, Jose Acosta in fourth, and Richie Coy is going to be the fifth car. And for the top 5 anyways on this initial start. It's the first time we've seen the 84 lead the way. Brody Hanna has led every single restart up to this point. But only 2 drivers, Jason, has led a green flag lap, or any lap rather, in this race to the first 60 laps. We're about to go back to green flag.
Yeah, Brody Hanna didn't really have such a good stop right here, so we'll have to see how he restarts. Remember, fell off really, really late into that run. We'll see how he is here early into this run as well.
And the green flag is out. Stage 2 underway. The 0-6 Daniel Simmons gets a great restart here. Jose Acosta pushing him all the way down the front straightaway into turn number 1. And the 0-6 is going to have all of the 84 cleared, but his nose not able to make the pass. 15 of Moreau really close to the 24 Jose Acosta's left side car panel there. Not able to make any contact, which is a positive thing here. Goes down to turn number 3, a lot more space given here. 15 is going to slide up just a little bit. 24 is going to get a run. The 0-6 slides up, cannot hold it. Over the 12, Jose Gravalva makes contact. The 23 of Brody Hanna puts the 23 and hit the 12 back a little bit further as they were trying to make ground on the 31, unable to do so through 3 and 4.
Yeah, I thought the 12 right there, Jeremy, off turn number 4, got into the wall. Here we go. Here's the replay, and it looks like, oh, the 23. I don't know if he got tight or loose or what, but he just comes right up. And here in the 12, got a little bit loose. The 23 trying to check up, just gets right into the 12. You'll see right here again on the instant replay. 12 starts to get sideways. You're going to see that rear end right there start to kind of kick out, and the 23 is running his line. It looks like from that angle too, he just gets a little tight, so it looks like they kind of just meet in the middle, and the 12 of Joseph Grijalva just goes right to the top side. I think he brushes the wall right here, maybe? I'm not sure. It looks like he's all good so far, though, here.
That is classic physics 101 right there. The 23 getting closer and closer to the 12, pushes the air into his left rear, kicks the 12 sideways, and then since the air is now off the nose of the 23, it makes him tight, shoves up into the 12 and makes a little contact, but they did not wreck. We stay green. Of course, the 15, Nick Moreau looking underneath the 84 at Jamie Knopp. This will be a pass for the race lead if completed, and he does get it. Unless he does not hold this spot, the 15 will be your third different leader in the first 65 laps in this race.
Yeah, Nick Moreau is looking to have a good night. Remember, had a fast car last week at Vegas, got caught up in that early incident with Brody Hanna, but was able to maintain and come right back up through the field. So I think that this 15 of Nick Moreau, we know how good he is on these mile and a halves, won at Kansas. I would expect him to be just as good here tonight.
Yeah, 100% there. And actually, I'm seeing the 31 of Jeff Chandler 1 lap down out of this race. I know Doyle Lawrence is on our chats cheering him on, but I don't see him disconnected. But the 31 has momentarily pulled out of the race. Going to be 2 laps down as they get to the line this time. We'll try to keep you up to date where and when we can. Maybe our reporter there, Doyle Lawrence, can give us an update. But we're going to turn our focus back to the action on the track. Nick Moreau jumps out to an early half a second lead over the 84 as the top 5 really start to space out there. The only battle right now, the 99 and the 33. You got them on your screen right now. This is the battle for 7th and 8th place. Looks like Daniel LaFleur is going to pass the 33 and clear him off exit 2.
Yeah, did a really good job right there on the exit of turn number 2. Danny's having a solid run right now. Looks like he's doing a little bit of having a little bit of a connection issue right now. He looked like he blinked for a split second there coming off turn number 2. But I believe he's okay for the time being. Currently finds himself P7, up 8 spots. And Sherwood Williford, talk about him, 19 spots from where he started. Great run tonight here for the 33 so far.
The 31, Jeff Chandler, drops out due to packet loss, so that is the issue right now. Jeff Chandler with the connection issue. We did see the 99, at least on my end too. He blinked out several times, so it looks like he is stable at this time. Jeff Chandler reconnects back to the server just now, so this is going to put him about 5 laps down when he gets back onto the track. And so he's going to need a lot more action on this track to get himself caught up, as there's Michael Blackner 1 lap down, Alan Crowell 1 lap down, so Jeff Chandler will be needing about 6 or 7 cautions at minimum to get himself back into the lead lap here.
Yeah, and that's a huge story, Jeremy, rather for Jeff Chandler, because he had a very fast car early on, and he only finds himself right now about 18 points above the cutoff line. So if Jeff loses a lot of positions here tonight and finishes roughly around where he is currently on the racetrack, Jeff Chandler could be facing elimination next week when we head into Martinsville. So he needs to go out there and run the best he can, the hardest he can. And I know that's a lot asking, considering that right now he is going to be multiple laps down, but he needs to try to make the most out of this night and maximize his points as much as possible.
Yeah, you see him joining back onto the surface right now. after getting connected back to the server. And just keep in mind, too, the 84 Jamie Knopp, he is 5th place in points, that first spot at the cutoff line. If he wins this race, which he has a great chance to do so, if he can beat Nicholas Moreau on this long run, that's going to move Jeff Chandler, instead of having an 18-point difference between the cut line, it's going to move him to a 10-point difference, where that's number 4 of Chad Lang. That's where he sits, currently P12. So that'll make it really tight going to the final race at Martinsville if the 84 can somehow pull this victory off. But the 84, nonetheless, is going to be gaining a lot of points to close in that gap. So that 18-point gap might be a little bit tighter than expected at the end of this run.
And this is everything, too, that Jamie Knopp needed coming into tonight. Remember, he was outside looking in, and now he finds himself in right now with the point situation. So if Jamie Knopp could go and lock his way into the championship 4, that would be a huge statement. And honestly, I would consider Jamie Knopp to probably be the underdog going into the Final 4 if it were to stay the same, if he were to bump out Chad Lang. I mean, when you look at the front 3 this season, they've been the front 3. We know Brody's had his issues. He had no wheel for several weeks. I believe it was an issue with one of his parts. And now he's back, and he's still running good, both here and in the Truck Series. I would be shocked if the 84 were able to win this, and I'd be more shocked if Jeff Chandler didn't make the Final 4.
I'll do a quick shout out to one of our partners, Dusty Pete's, the official hobby shop for the Nerditudes. Hobby store with a whole lot more. They are based out of New York, and Dusty Pete's is your one-stop shop for many things nerdy. If collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name. From figurines and action figures to collectible cards such as Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and any sports card tradables, they have them. Plus, they have a plethora of comics to choose from anything young and old. And you want to add to your collection, head over to dustypete's.com and use that Super Nerd checkout code for 10% off anything you purchase from dustypete's.com.
Noticing right here, Jose Acosta trying to hold off the 19 and the 99. Everybody really is very tightly compacted right now. You know, in Nicholas Moreau, he's kind of in his own world right now. He's out by a little bit more than a second over Jamie Knopp and Daniel Simmons there. But we know how good this 15 is here on the mile and a half. And I think that if you want to be the winner here tonight, you're going to have to beat this 15 machine, regardless of how early we are into this race. We're just, obviously over now, or under 100 laps to go. I mean, this 15 has just been so good on the mile and a half all season. I think if you really want to win tonight, Jeremy, you're going to have to beat this 15.
Yeah, Nicholas Moreau sometimes does not have the long run set up underneath him. Right now, he's doing a great job for the first 20 laps onto this run, or 15 laps rather. But we don't know what that long run entails. We saw the 84 just do one hell of a job, Jamie Knopp, to maintain that lead all the way through the back half of the fuel and tire run. And so right now he resides just over 1 second behind the 15. But what's not to say here in the next 20 laps, we're going to see a shift in power as the 84 and the 06, who also has a very good setup on the long run, to make it up to the 15. You see the 99 of LaFleur looking underneath Richie Coyne in the 19 here. In turn number 1 and 2 on lap 76, trying to make the pass. Richie's going to push him down just a little bit and able to secure his spot on corner exit.
Yeah, great move there for the 19 of Richie Coy, trying to get around the LaFleur machine and into 3 and 4. It looks like Brody Hanna's car is kind of just stabilized right now. He's not really gaining. He's not really losing. He's finding himself 6 positions back from where he started. You see Wade Rossi get a little bit loose there on corner exit. But I think if you're Brody Hanna here, Jeremy, I think this next stop, you definitely want to tweak this car probably to be a long-run car, because we saw how good he was in the short run. I just think he's going to be lacking long-run speed.
Yeah, hopefully he made some changes on pit road to get his car a little bit faster for the long run. And with that pass in the 19 and the 99, that kind of propelled the 24 away from them, which the 24 at one point looked like he was holding up a long line of cars. But that has kind of tapered off here. The 19 back to the 12. It looks about to be the closest this top 10 is at this time. As we're going to go to our Turn Up the Tude segment, where we're going to listen to all the sights and sounds of these cars going around Homestead. Be back shortly. And that was Turn Up the Tudes, where we got to listen to all these cars going around Homestead here. And we saw a couple of situations. I know the top 10's been pretty still at this point. We saw the 27 of Chapman, which we'll get a replay on that here momentarily. But right now, focusing in on this top 10, a lot more spaced out, Jason, than what we saw just a handful of laps ago.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot more spaced out for the time being, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the super long run, because these guys last pitted around lap 57. You're looking at lap 84 right now, so we're just approaching 30 laps into this tire run. I could probably expect guys, Jeremy, to just pit probably just shy of 100 laps. So we're probably going to be seeing guys pit here within the next 10 to 15 laps, I had to say. And if you pit, if you leapfrog, if you're a driver like Jose Acosta and Richie Coy, time is key here. And I mean, you look at the best lap time compared to the last lap time. Nick Moreau's best lap time was a 32.726. Last time around was a 33.5, so a second of fall off so far. So pitting here and trying to leapfrog this leader could be the winning strategy of this race, even though we're probably going to have one more green flag pit stop.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, they've only been running 25, 26 laps now on this set of tires. And I know these Cup cars can go at least 40-plus laps, 45, even 50 on a set of, or in a full tank of gasoline, that is. So do you think you see like an F1 style strategy where they go, hey, we're going to do a two-stopper here on stage 2 versus 1?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think so for sure. I mean, I hate to say this word, but I mean, you're dumb. You're dumb if you don't pit twice, I think. I think the tires are so crucial here. They're so key. The fall off is so tremendous that you have to pit twice. I mean, think about it. You're going to pit before lap 100 probably, or at least around lap 100, and then you have 67 laps more to go until the end of the race. You're going to have to pit one more time. You have to. There's no doubt about it, whether it be for two tires or in fuel or whatever. I mean, these cars can make it the distance on fuel. They're going to be right on the number practically. But with that being said, you got to remember this tire life here. It's so crucial. You're just going to be running like a tortoise out there if you stay out and try to just make it a one-stopper.
You're definitely going to be a lot slower there. And I've not seen, at least in my perspective, seen guys go, hey, we're going to guarantee this two-stop, take that F1 style strategy where you have this pre-planned out. But I think you might be on the money with this particular track of how the fall-off is. And speaking of fall-off, the 15 Nicholas Moreau, we kept focusing on the 84 because him and the 06 of Simmons had just been the fastest two cars on the circuit, at least in this top 10. Jamie Knopp closed up that second gap down to half a second in about 4 to 5 laps here as he continues to make gains on this 15, which this is not what Jeff Chandler wants to see after having his connection issues. As we see the battle for first place presented by the butt kicker there on your upper left-hand part of your screen. If the 84 makes this pass and can somehow hold off the 15, this is definitely going to put Jeff Chandler below the cutoff line going into Martinsville.
And the thing is, too, Jeremy, is this would shake up the points a tremendous amount between the 84 winning, the 4 having an abysmal day, and the 31 with his connection issues. This is going to shake up the points just like it did realistically last night at Homestead, obviously. You had Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin both have issues. Chris Buescher was last coming into the points. He left coming out last in the points. This is a must-win. Ryan Blaney, minus 17. He's plus 10. Kyle Larson, he already advanced. Christopher Bell, he was below. He was right in that 6th position in the points coming in, and he went on to win the race. So Homestead yesterday was a shakeup. We very well could see a huge shakeup for the Mach-1 guys tonight.
Yeah, we definitely shake up that top 4, who's been Jeff Chandler, Richie Coy. Those guys have been the show of the field all season long. And to see one of the front, it's kind of like the Martin Truex example you just gave out there, where the guy just dominates all season long, has a clear-cut victory in the Winston Cup points that they like to keep track of, and then to go in the playoffs and see one of your best contenders have some issues here in the playoffs. And you see the 44, 42 almost making a little bit of contact. One car loose on the back. It looks like that was maybe Ryan Chapman on the inside of the 14. Focusing on Duranco now, that was the 27 who was off the pace a little bit on the backstretch.
Yeah, I noticed going into 1 and 2. I don't know if the 44 and the 42 weren't happy with each other, but I noticed that the 42 closed in a lot last time by on that 44. And I mean, he stayed right on his bumper. I almost thought he was going to run right into the back of him and turn him. So something maybe of a miss there for the 44 or the 42, one or the other. Thankfully, though, they kept it going. No contact was made. And, we have a caution on the racetrack. I believe one car around, possibly. Ryan Chapman, I believe it is, there in the 27.
Yeah, once more, this time around turn 2 for the first time, we've seen a car get loose in 1 and 2 in comparison to 3 and 4, and Chapman just continued to get loose. He did have a spin out similar to this in turn 4 onto the front straightaway while we were doing up the turn up the tube segment, but the 27 ended up parking it right on the racetrack there in between groove 2 and 3. So no doubt about it, iRacing software said, caution is out, put it out, put it out. And you see right there on board Ryan Hendrick as he barely clears Ryan Chapman there sliding back up the track.
Yeah, that was a close call for not only him, but also Michael Blackner. And if he would have hit Michael Blackner, that would have just been putting more salt in the wound for the 87 tonight. Needed a good night. He's the last car on the lead lap right now. So I believe, if I'm correct, I don't know if Steve Loomis just got the Lucky Dog Award, but I believe Michael Blackner could get the Lucky Dog Award here if it hasn't been presented already. But here we go, not green flag, but pit stops. This time, this is going to be probably the second to last stop of the day. And if you have a good stop here, Jeremy, you could be setting yourself good here for the restart.
Yeah, can confirm 87 Michael Blackner is the hashtag Get a Grip Lucky Dog Award recipient. As he's going to go around the pace car right now on the outside of it on turn number 2. So he's going to get himself back on the lead lap, put himself last place, 24th place in the field here on the lead lap going to the green flag. But as you guys cycle through, we're going to take another quick picture-in-picture commercial break, and we'll be back shortly before the drop of the green flag for the 5th time, shortly before lap 100. And back full screen once more as we have a quarter of a lap left before we're going to send this thing back to green flag action, resuming on lap 97. And we have scheduled 167. So we're going to have 71 laps to go here when these guys get the green flag. Nick Moreau obviously having some of the best short run to mid run setups so far here this evening. 84 Jamie Knopp and the 06 Daniel Simmons having a really good long run setup. Can they close the gap a little earlier on the 15? We are green flag. Here we go down to the turn number 1. The 15 is going to have the 84 cleared. The 06 Daniel Simmons is going to clear. Jamie Knopp's going to put him back to P3. Ricci has to check up underneath the 24 of Jose Acosta. 15 into the wall on corner exit. They scatter 3 wide. It's going to drop the 15 back to 4th place. Jamie Knopp presumes as your race leader.
Hectic restarts going all the way throughout the restart right now, and as they head through 4, it looks like the 24, the 06, they nearly made contact and gave Jamie Knopp the lead due to the 15 hitting the wall. Everybody, though, still mainly double files. They fan out into 1.
The 15, Nick Moreau, got loose there on turn number 2, wiggled, and I actually think he might have slightly missed the wall. It was so close to tell on my camera. He gets loose once more on corner X at that time. 24, Jose Acosta, makes the best out of that situation, moves him to P2 right in front of the 06 to 15, charging hard here on the outside of Daniel Simmons, able to make the pass momentarily, gets the corner exit, able to clear the 06, so the 15 using up all of his stuff early to try to get back to the race lead.
Yeah, and the 15's trying his hardest, goes down to the bottom, nearly makes contact with the 24 of Acosta. He cuts him off slightly. You see Simmons, he'll drift up the racetrack. And here comes Brody Hanna, drifted way back beforehand. He finds himself up in the 5th spot, trying to go for 4th underneath Simmons down to 3.
23 made slight bumper contact to the 06. Daniel Simmons came on the radio and said, I apologize about that. They went single filed on the back straightaway, but the 23 looks to have the better of the 2 cars here on this early run, where the 23 seems to have one of the fastest cars within the first 10 to 15 laps of each run. Makes the pass clear on the 06 Daniel Simmons. There you go now, single file for the top 10.
Yeah, and they go, oh, whoa, sideways for a slight moment went the 06, or actually that's rather the 23, I believe. Brody Hanna wicked sideways off turn number 2. He was able to save it. Now finds himself in the grasp of Joseph Brahava off 4. But Joseph doesn't get the run off the corner now. Down the front straightaway, back into 1. He'll wrap back down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to reel Brody Hanna back in now for what would be the 5th spot.
I'm going to try to get this camera early. Dustin, if you could switch over to Joshua Johnson, try to get run off that right rear quarter panel. This 57 is wall riding this thing in turn 3 and 4, really heavy like. As you see him go through 3 right now into 4. He's going to quickly swivel the camera out here and just how close he's going to get the corner exit. See one person in front of him doing the same thing. And we're going to see it gives a little more ease into 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 has really tried to send it up to the top side of the track.
Yeah, he's trying everything he can do right here, Jeremy, to make up the most ground. But again, that bottom side with these fresher tires are just going to be way more dominant than this top side. We're going to see him right here. What will he do? He'll go up to the top side, back to the middle. This time going into 3, starts to drift up right onto that seam and heads back up to the wall. Still not able to get up to the back bumper of Wayne Grossi off 4.
That's where these guys are just watching us in our broadcast, and we call them out, and they do opposite. This time he's going to run up to that wall, though, right up to it, almost hits it. Makes a diamond cut there to get the straighter corner exit, as we're really starting to see now what it looks like while riding this track.
Yeah, and I can tell you what it's looking like right now, just from what I'm seeing. It's not looking pretty for him, because he just lost about 2 positions going through the center of 1 and 2. Lost 1, 2. That would be the 4th Chad Lang, the 33 of Sherwood Williford. And he very well could lose another position to James Wallace, somebody we haven't talked about all night. Up 9 spots from where he started. He's having a kind of a mid-pack run. Maybe he could find some speed here late in the going in that 67 machine.
Yeah, just been a really quiet contender all night long. But yeah, up 9 positions. So overall, that's a great performance there from the 67. I also want to make a quick mention the 27, Ryan Chapman, did back out after that last caution where he spun out there in 1 and 2. So the 27, Ryan Chapman, is done for this evening for the Homestead 250. As we're kind of jumped back up to the race lead. It looks like the 15 putting immense amount of pressure on the 84 at Jamie Knopp. And also a good point there. The 31 Jeff Chandler did stay out when everybody else pitted, so he got the semi-hard way to get his lap back. Took the wave around, so he's on a lot older tires, but that 31 gained 1 lap on the track, only 4 laps down.
Yeah, he's trying everything that he can do, Jeremy, to try to make up those next 4 laps, obviously. And what he really needs is a lot of quick cautions. That would be the best case scenario for him, probably, no doubt about it. But the thing that he risks is possibly losing fuel, obviously cutting a tire down possibly. So if you're the 31 of Jeff Chandler, you're just hoping for yellows before you go even another lap down.
Yeah, you're hoping and praying that something happens between now and whenever he falls back to 5 laps down, which that is inevitable, having that massive difference in speed between the fresh tires and not, as we're now riding on board the number 5. Fred Moreau was involved in that early wreck. I think it was the first one this evening within the first 15 laps, and now he's on the back bumper of the 24. Jose Acosta through 1 and 2. And gets on corner exit. A little bit higher exit overall for the 5, but the 24 with that sweeping exit able to maintain all the momentum he had, and they stay single file going to 3.
But here comes Moreau. He'll go back up to the top side on Acosta. And remember, this 5 machine was many laps down at one point, and all because of that second caution, which was the big one down the front straightaway. And now the fact that Fred Moreau has driven all the way back to 6th is insane. I said it for sure earlier on. I was almost confident by the way he was sitting there on pit road going a few laps down. I said that it was not looking like a night for Mr. Fastman Fred Moreau to go from the back to the front here tonight. Sure enough, he's done just that. He's going to clear that 24 and now sets his sights on that 23 of Brody Hanna for the 4th spot.
Looking at him there, slowly gaining. Remember, the 5, Fred Moreau, was fastest in practice. He just does not qualify. So Fred manually drives up through the field. He did so. He got involved in that first wreck, dropped back to the field to get his repairs made, and now he's climbed his way back up through the field, finding himself P5 at this time, focusing back on the race leader, the 84, Jamie Knott. Remember, he is going to be upsetting Jeff Chandler if he does end up winning this race. The 15 of Moreau had a little hiccup here on that last restart and enabled the 84 to get that spot. So now the 15 cannot progress in front of the 84. This is going to be huge for Jamie Knopp as he will advance himself into the round of 4.
Yeah, and it would be such a huge opportunity for him, but also you got to think about it too. He's got 2 guys behind him who are really, really hungry. Nicholas Moreau, always a contender week in and week out. And Daniel Simmons, one of those guys who he didn't make the playoffs, but he has been doing such a great job here tonight. Mentioned it earlier, he was ripping that top side probably better than anybody, but really hasn't gone up there, just yet. I think he kind of learned, or maybe made the setup adjustment to go to that bottom side. And Daniel had a really good qualifying run. He had a really good practice run. I think that this 06 might have something to say here later on in this race.
Yeah, he's been one of the fastest cars on the long run. I see on the YouTube side, Brian Fine saying these boys are putting on a great show. Absolutely. It's not the entire field, but there's little pockets here and there within this top 10 are just kind of running each other really clean, but really hard, like at the same token. Trying to do everything they can. It's a wide track. You can run many lanes, but at the same token, you're running the same lap time. So passing is kind of hard. You have to use a strategy of taking the air off the cars. We've seen that several times already this evening. And right now the 15 is in one of those positions. You see a wicked move there right behind the 4 of Chad Lane. That's the 6-7 of James Wallace. Rather, he's going to make the move and try to make that pass happen. Looks like he will get it through 3 and 4.
A great move there to the bottom on Chad Lang there for James Wallace. Takes that position away. He was running about 14th before, I want to say. Now finds himself up in that 12th spot. And James is running faster lap times all the way until you get up to Richie Coy in 9th. So I think that James very well could probably be a guy who has that long run type setup.
Position change for 4th place. Fred Moreau in the 5 gets around the 23 of Brody Hanna as he's starting to slip back a little bit. like he did on the last long green flag run, as now he is being looked at and approached by the 24 and the 99. That's Jose Acosta and Danny LaFleur. Brody likes to run the bottom, slow entry there. Center of the corner looks just fine, but exit, you're going to see the 24 approach a little bit closer. Looks like he's going to hang tight behind this time around. Gets to turn 3. Lets the 23 drive it in a little bit deeper, but watch this corner exit. He's going to eat them all up and make this pass effort.
I think the 23 is just very tight and probably on exit there, but also he could be loose. I'm not the one driving this thing. I'm just going off of what we're seeing right here in the booth, Jeremy. And just from riding on this on board, just going to take one more look at it. It looks like this 23 just kind of drifts up. I personally think he's tight. I don't think he's loose. I think that 23 machine is just tight. He just starts to kind of fall off on that middle part of the run. Then once you get to that really, what we call the long run, I mean, this 23 FTSR machine kind of just falls right off. You see right now, drifting up the racetrack, he's going to give up that position to the 24 of Jose Acosta here. That's the battle for 5th.
And he's trying what he can, but when you have a tight setup, your options are super limited as what you can do, and he just has to give it up. There's just no question about that. 24.99, they both get around. That's going to move Brody Hanna back to 7th place, as now they go back single file here. And the top 3 have gotten really close. The 15's all but there, and here comes that 06. You mentioned him about 5 or 10 laps ago. Danny has put himself in a great chance here to run for the race lead.
Yeah, definitely put himself for a great chance. Obviously, he's doing a great job there, up 9 spots from where he started. I think he very well could make it up to the front possibly, but here we go. Look at this 06 machine. Daniel Simmons trying to work down to the bottom of Nicholas Moreau, not able to do it right there. Going through 1 and 2, he goes up to the middle lane this time, entering 3 and 4. Going to try to see if he could diamond the corner or maybe make up a little bit more ground than the 15 on corner exit, but as they reach off turn number 4, not able to get there. Still back by about 2 car lengths, I'd say now, as they work back into 1.
50 laps to go here on the Homestead 250. And we're going to shout out one of our partners. It's going to be the series sponsor, actually, Mach-1 Performance, presenting sponsor every single Monday night for the FTSR Cup Series. Mach-1 Performance is a race car fabrication shop that was started by the late Johnny Coy Jr. The shop has produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions, from road circuits like the SCCA and NASA to dirt and pavement oval racing. Visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance.
Noticing this 12 with Joseph Grajava right now. He had a really strong run earlier in the race. Right now, kind of just resides back in that 8th spot. Not really doing a whole lot right now. He's maintaining with race speed with Daniel LaFleur and Richie Coy around the 33.5 bracket. But this 12, he's just not really making up a whole lot of ground right now on this part of the run. So maybe when these guys take their last green flag stop, maybe this 12 can make the right adjustment. But there's also a lot of guys who could try to make the right adjustment. You think about James Wallace. He's been really strong. Maybe this car can try to make the adjustment to get up into that top 10. Maybe have a caution fall into the hands of him, possibly at the right time, and could lead to him being a race contender, because this 67 has impressed me for sure here tonight. Same thing goes with that 33 of Sherwood Williford. Both those guys up both 12 and 15 spots respectively here tonight.
Yeah, great runs by some of these people in this field. And I want to kick it over to our iRacing iFlag track map, showcasing exactly what 25 laps difference on tires looks like. Talking about the 31 of Jeff Chandler versus your race leader Jamie Knopp in the 84. Jeff Chandler on corner exit 4 right now. And then you see the race leader currently entering turn 3 at this time. So that bubble right there in turn 1, that is your 31. And then the lead is right now exiting turn number 4. So just under a half a lap away, or track length away from getting to that 31.
Yeah, and Jeff really just needs a caution like we talked about. He's just going to continue to ride out the laps and hope for quick yellows and hope that he can get the wave around, because if he pits, Jeremy, he doesn't get that wave around. The only one who gets the opportunity to pit, and be able to still maintain his track position is that Martin Sports Lucky Dog winner. If you are that first car that is 1 lap down, like we saw Michael Blackner earlier, you will be allowed to pit if wanted. And if you're a guy who is a lap down, you could either sacrifice to pit or you could sacrifice to stay out. And take the wave around and get a lap back, but at the expense of not taking any tires. So it's really just a strategy call. And Jeff obviously is out here just trying to maximize the points with that heartbreaking internet connection loss earlier.
Yeah, 100% here. You're seeing the leaders. They're all running the bottom half of the track. I'm actually watching the guys back here for 15th through 20th. For some reason, they're all up at the top half of the track the past few laps. 22, Robert Malikian running right up against the outside wall on my camera angle here. Going through 3 and 4 this time. You see the 42, Kyle Milliken doing the same exact thing. Let's see what they do here through turns 1 and 2 this time.
Yeah, and they both get a little bit loose there on corner exit, that being the 22, and also I believe it was the 42 there on corner exit. But they're doing a really good job running up at the top of the racetrack, not making up too much ground. They're trying the best they can. I just don't think the top lane right now, Jeremy, is the place to be if you're trying to make any ground up remotely. Just because I feel like personally, that bottom lane has just not really fallen off. That bottom just continues to be the best line throughout the night. And we haven't really seen many guys drift up to the outside lane unless you're trying to make a pass, but it's not really successful.
Yeah, this is the only way to do it is if you get that close, maybe even a little bit closer to the outside wall. Because we talked about, we see the 37, at least I did on my screen, get really, really loose on corner exit number 2. It looks like he was able to save it, but he's going to drop back multiple seconds here as he got gobbled up by the 87, the 17, dropped down to all the way to 130 miles an hour midway down the back straightaway, but thankfully hit nothing and he continues.
Yeah, I think he just got sideways, like you said, Jeremy, and we saw him all the way up against that inside wall right on the apron, but he was able to maintain and keep the position that he's currently fallen back to. Here's the replay of it. 37 just wicked loose, nearly pulls. Like last year, I believe it was Tyler Reddick who just slammed that inside wall. So did John Hunter Nemechek. And he just got loose right down the back straightaway, but it was able to save it, came right back up on the racetrack. So heads up driving there by the 37 car for sure.
And see one more angle of it there, just whoop, and goes over halfway down to the apron inside of the track portion of this speedway, and brings it back up before corner entrance there. No harm, no foul, just lost some ground on the track as we kick it back over to live action here. The 84 Jamie Nupp still leading this thing, just over a half a second advantage over that 15. And then Fred Moreau has passed the 06. So Fred has driven back through the field twice now, and now is about 2 car lengths away from passing his co-owner of the team here for second place.
Yeah, and this would be interesting to see both the Moreaus go at it here for the race lead. I know it's happened before, and it's looking like it could just be like that. I think that Fred is definitely faster than these guys, but I also think that the 15 is starting to fall off here on the middle to late run, and I think Jamie has kind of just, subsided and kind of maintained his own ground and hasn't pulled away. He hasn't really gotten any faster. He hasn't really gotten any slower. He's just kind of maintained. But the 15 is just starting to fall off a little bit, and this 5 machine is just flying right now, nearly about a 10th last time around, faster than the 2 leaders.
100% there. Can the 5 be a spoiler for the 84 who has the best chance possible to get this thing? We got a caution. I think as the 23 was coming down pit road, they said, nope, he backs it out, does not make the pit stop. But we're going to have our 5th caution this evening on lap 130 on the speedway. And we are trying to cycle through to see who exactly was to blame for the caution here. It looked like it was on the backstretch. I did see some smoke on the camera. And it was the 44 and the 42. That's Chris Beck and Kyle Milliken. Corner exit turn 2. The 42 got loose. The 44 just got collected as the 42 came down the track. You see it right there. Right rear hooked. Sends Chris Beck hard to the outside wall on corner exit.
Yeah, we'll have to back this up a little bit to see, but man, what a hard hit to that outside wall for Chris Beck there. Keeps it going straight once he gets looped back around. But there's the 42, just gets loose and just comes right down and uses that 44 kind of as like a wall saver, and he just clips the 44, sends them right around there in front. And that U.S. Air Force number 44, love that scheme. So it was a great scheme. He runs every single week here. Heartbreaker, though, because these two have been battling really, really hard back in the back half of the field. And it just goes to show you that they're running, their butts off all night long here.
What's going to take away any green flag pit stops this evening? The 23 was going to be the first one to come down pit road, and there was an air pocket there. I saw the 42 still had an aggressive move, trying to save the car as he came down the track. So I think contact was going to be made regardless, but the air pocket definitely didn't help anything as it just overpressurized into the 44's right rear, sends him nose first on an outside wall. And I don't see too much damage to the 44. His left front's pushed in a little bit. These carbon composite bodies could definitely take a beating, and we're still seeing how well they do. But we're gonna kick it back to, I think, our last picture-in-picture commercial break. Be back shortly before the drop of the green flag for the 6th time this evening. And back to full screen here. Just about a half a lap left before we're going to go back to green flag on lap 135. This is going to be just over 30 laps remaining in this Homestead 250. Throw out any chance of a green flag pit stop, because those are no more of a chance. These guys have what they have unless there is another caution presented to them between now and the finish of this race. 84 Jamie Knopp's going to lead this field to the green flag. 15 Nicholas Morrow on the outside, P2. Jose Acosta sitting nice and pretty in third place. Fred Moreau trying to be the spoiler this evening, starting in fourth on this restart. Green flag is out. This race is underway. Jose with a big slam to the back of the 84 Jamie Knopp as they head off into one.
Yeah, good restart there for Jamie Knopf going into 1 and 2. He's got Jose Acosta all over his back bumper as they go back into 2. Not Fred Moreau, rather, but Nicholas is going to have a great run, though, coming off turn number 2. He's actually going to be side by side with this 84 down the back straightaway. But as they enter 3 and 4, he's found himself side by side now with the 24, still trying to look to the outside on the race leader.
Business picking up. You can tell it's getting closer into this race. They are 3 wide in the back here, making contact. Looks like they keep it going straight. Jamie Knopf's able to break away by a car length or so as Jose is trying to pass Nicholas Moreau, but I don't think he's going to be able to get his rear looking through the back half of the field here. Still 3 wide, 87 on the bottom, 42 in the middle, 22 Malikian on the
we got a wreck!
Oh, Danny LaFleur in the 99, part of FNM Motorsports. Around heavy into the inside, but off the racing service. iRacing does not throw cautions when it's below the white or yellow line. We stay green.
I just noticed right there, Jeremy, when we came back from the camera angle, this 99, I believe he got wicked loose off 2. And from the looks of it, this number 99 Transit Machine does, in fact, just get loose. He's going to bounce off, or no, nearly bounces off the 23. I thought there was contact. No contact, just overcorrects it. And unfortunately, while trying to save it, comes right down in front of, I believe that's Wayne Grassi. Yes, it is. Finds himself spinning right towards that inside wall. I believe he makes hard contact. Yes, he does. That's severe contact for the 99.
And as we were watching that, there was a caution on the field for the 6th time this evening. Looked like it's going to involve the 17 and the 22. That's Steve Loomis, 17. Robert Malikian in the 22, who was wall right in the top half of turn 4. They get the corner exit. They meet up here as they're essentially 4 wide and just no room right there. 17 into the 22, puts them both into the outside wall. 17 slides all the way down the front straightaway, either sideways or in reverse, and it'll bring up the 6th caution this evening.
I believe right there, Jeremy, looked like the 17, just for a split second, looks like he came right up in front of Robert, I believe, off turn 4. We'll have to take another look at the replay, and off turn 4, you're going to see the 17. I think there was just that pocket of air there coming through turn number 4, and unfortunately, the 17's coming up, 22's, kind of coming down a little bit. Unfortunately, they just met in the middle there, so just a racing incident coming off 4.
Yeah, you're 3-4 wide, and room's already kind of tight there. You can do 4 wide at Homestead. It's just not the most comfortable thing. Anytime you're 4 wide, and just not enough room was provided for the 22 on the top, who had about maybe a foot of space between himself and the outside wall. Steve Loomis just did not give the appropriate amount of room and sent them both to the outside. This is going to be good, I think, for Jamie Knopf, because he's going to be controlling these restarts. This will put him underneath 30 laps to go in this event. And so if he can kind of maintain and get a good launch each one of these restarts, I think this is all but good for the 84. The 15, though, he's been one of the fastest on these restarts, Jason. So he might jump him next time on this next start.
Yeah, very well could. I mean, there's a lot of guys, though, that are up there right now in that top 5 that very well could have great restarts and go to victory lane. I mean, you have the 5 of Fred Moreau. He's been really fast. You have the 06, the 24, the 84, and the 15, though, have been the class of the field so far from what looks to be all night long. I think really what's going to come down to, though, here, Jeremy, is who has the better short run.
And you're seeing the 31 on your screen, Jeff Chandler. He is your hashtag Get a Grip Lucky Dog Award recipient this time, which is going to be big. If there's a couple more cautions, he might have a chance. Right now, he's going to be P26, throwing 3 laps down. The Stephen Loomis machine, the 17, was 1 lap down. He would have been your lucky dog contestant, but he was a part of that wreck. So that is voided, and it goes to the next person on the list, which is the 31 of Jeff Chandler. So now he's going to need, still a miracle. He's going to need 4 more cautions, which basically done for on that token. But, we have seen some weird and crazy things in the past, and if there's another quick caution or 2 like that, you never know.
Yeah, you definitely never know. And, of course, obviously, we talked about how Jeff needs to maximize those points here tonight, and that's really key for him to be able to get another lap back. But he hasn't really gained many laps back so far here tonight I just think that right now where he's at, I mean, my belief personally, I mean, he's going to need a lot of guys to wreck out of this race if he wants to pick up a few more positions.
Yeah, there's only one lap down car. Jeff Chandler's only won 3 laps down. The next one's 22 back, so it's just him and Steve Loomis trading out these lucky dogs as they continue to pop up, being the 6th time we've been underneath caution here for the Homestead 250. These guys crossing the line right now are on lap 141, so it's going to be 27 laps to go this time. We're going to get 26 to go when they go back to green flag as the pace car lights have turned off. So we're going to see the same top 3. The 06 Daniel Simmons is going to be your new 4th place car. Fred Murrow dropped back 1 spot. He's going to be restarting in 5th.
Yeah, I think here, Jeremy, I want to say, look for Jose Acosta to give a really good push here to Jamie Knopp. He might put it 3 wide. He very well could. And I think if, let's just say that doesn't happen, I think that this 15 machine of Nicholas Moreau, I think if he could stay tight on that 24's door, entering 1 and 2, I think he has a very, very good shot at battling for that race lead once they go into 2, or rather into 3 and 4.
Yeah, you got to take the long run. You got to throw it out the window. You are no longer in that ballpark. You have to run this thing like it is a sprint race. And so we're going to start seeing some names that we're not used to seeing charge early on. So the 06 Daniel Simmons, I've got my eye on him for sure. Jose Acosta, expect him to do anything he can possible. We already know Fred's fast. Green flag is out here for the 7th time this evening. The 84 gets a decent launch. Jose is all over the back bumper once more. This every single time we've seen this 24 just bump whoever's in front of him just because he gets such great launches on these restarts. They still remain 2 by 2 by 2. The 15 giving out a great amount of pressure. He got that jump that he needed. Oh, we got it right in the back. The 22 Heartbreak Kid, Robert Malikian, goes around. Caution is out for the 7th time, and we're going to see the 7 of Wayne Grassi. We're going to see the 77 of Bartel, the 22 Malikian, as these guys get woed up here back on the front stretch.
Yeah, I believe there was also another driver involved here. We're going to take a look. It looks like it's that Martini Rossi, number 42 machine. Kyle Milliken just gets loose, gets into that 14. Unfortunately, sends him right at the track, right into the path of the 22 machine, clips him in the left rear there, right near the wheel well, sends the 22 around, going to collect the 7 of Wayne Grassi. Hard contact. 77 of TJ Bartel was involved as well. Just some hard hits here. And look at Jeff Chandler back there trying to avoid all this. I don't know if he hit anybody, but oh my goodness, that car cut all the way to the right. And just from that move, you think about that, Jeremy. If any of these guys are out and he's able to pick up a couple more positions, that move could be what gets Jeff Chandler to the Final 4.
So Jeff Chandler with contact, that's not going to make him a Lucky Dog Award recipient. And the 17 of Steve Loomis almost cleared the wreck, barely hit someone in the right rear on the bumper side. So it's going to avoid the 17, the 31, both without a lucky dog here. They come down pit road. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. Jeff Chandler just said lucky dog going high. So iRacing still gave it to him, even though with that.
Yeah, he never made any contact right there with that 31 machine. It was very, very close, though. But like I said, Jeremy, just from him going up to that top side, now if a couple of these guys are going to be out or repairing their damage, you think about it, just going to get a couple laps down on those guys, and he could pick up a few positions. And just by making that really abrupt move up to that top side, trying to get around that wreck, that could be what leads him to go to the Final 4 in Phoenix.
That's crazy. The 17 barely. We'll have to see if we can get a look on the 17 on the cockpit side, or at least the roof camera, of how close he was to avoiding that wreck. He dodged 2 cars, and I think Jeff Chandler was maybe, well, I thought it was him that he got in contact with. You see the little damage there on the right front of that 17 splitter. It's really just pushed up in the air, which aerodynamically is not the best thing you want to have at a fast track.
Yeah, definitely not, obviously. There's been a lot of guys with a lot of damage out here tonight. You know, and I mean, if you're the 17, you're just trying to run your own race, man. It has not been a night for the 17 to remember. There's been a lot of guys out here that just don't want to remember Homestead for sure. But here's the onboard. You're going to see him right here. It's going to make contact. That's what got him that damage right there, was that contact, I believe, with that 42 of Kyle Milliken. We're going to take another look back at it. You're going to watch this 42 slide back up, slide back down, and right here, there it goes. You saw the cowl flap right there come right up, or not the cowl flap rather, but the hood flap come right off, you know, where it is. And here, let's take one more look at it right here. When you see it, you're going to see that hood flap kind of just move around right here. And you already saw what it moved right there. Watch right there where the arrow is pointing. You're going to see this 42 come right down. And just because he hit him in that sweet spot on that right rear, you're going to see that hood flap, there it goes, moved right out of place. And that is all it took for Jeff Chandler to get his lap back.
That 31 is on a miracle run right now. Was -5. Now he's -2. And the past two cautions have technically involved the 17, which has enabled the 31 to get to -2 now. So, this being said, they're going to be resuming this race on lap 147, which is going to put them 21 laps to go. And so there is a chance still to get a couple more quick cautions in. And we know these restarts at Homestead get pretty chaotic at times. So I expect nothing different on this one.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, this restart's probably going to be nearly, or just as crazy, maybe even crazier than that last restart here. I mean, the laps are ticking down. We very well could be seeing caution after caution.
I'm going to do a quick plug here for Roasted Gems Coffee. Something that our broadcaster Jason needs right now, a little pick-me-up. They offer premium quality, ethically produced coffee gems from different parts of the world, and they have all different kinds of flavors for your caffeine desires. So if you want strong or weak coffee, either way, head yourself over to roastedgems.com and use Super Nerds at checkout for 10%. But pace car is down, and we're just waiting for the 15 to go. And here we go. Green flag is out here for the 8th time this evening. A little wiggle there as a 24 hits the back of the 15, giving himself a great launch once more into turn number 1.
Yeah, and that 15 was just barely ahead of that 84 at the caution flag, and now finds himself up at the top of the boards. Right now, off turn number 2, some jockeying for position in the back of the field, but it's all Nicholas Moreau up at the front of that field. Some contact throughout the field. Josh Johnson sliding up in 3 and 4, just finds a place to slot in right between Sherwood and Chad there coming off 4.
Joshua Johnson, door check, Chad laying into the wall there, entering turn number 3. I don't see the 4 making the aggressive move back at the 57 this time as they go 3 wide here. Down the middle, the 4 goes. He's going to lose the spot to the number 2 and the 37 momentarily on the back straightaway. And these guys quickly somehow go single filed out here in the top 10.
Yeah, now with 19 laps to go, this time by, can Jose Acosta or Jamie Knopp reel in that 15? Remember, on that later part of the run, we saw that 15 not nearly as fast as the 84 or the 5. The 5 finds himself back there in the 4th spot, but maybe this 15 of Nicholas Moreau has something else in store, because guess what? Fastest lap of the race for last time by, 32.594 for the driver, the number 15. So maybe he has what it takes here on this short run, coming around with 18 to go to close one out.
No doubt about it, this 15 has the best short run car out of the top 5, and now he's got that clean air. Right now, he's going to be unstoppable as Jamie Knopp is in 3rd, Jose Acosta in 2nd. I think this 84 is going to need another caution to get a chance back at the 15. It just does not have enough time as we are on lap 150 on the back straightaway. So we're going to have 18 laps to go, or 17 laps to go at the line as they go through turns 3 and 4 this time. The 15 is going to extend his lead just a little bit as we've got some side-by-side action here and through 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's Sherwood Williford side-by-side right now with James Walls, also Tony Solari off turn number 4, but they're able to keep it side-by-side, no contact made entering 1 and 2. Wallace tries that middle to top groove, drifts up a little bit, tries the diamond effect back down to the bottom, but Williford and Solari, they find themselves still side by side. That's the battle for the top 10 spot.
Yes, it is going through 3 and 4 this time. The 11's in the worst lane, I think, in 3 and 4, as the inside seems to have been a little bit stronger for the guys on average compared to 1 and 2. They all go single file now. She's the 37 file and suit on the top half there on the front straightaway. Every single person on this track right now is single file late in the going.
Yeah, Jeremy, just trying to run down on that bottom side with those fresher tires, because that's what's going to make it stick, as you see right there. 47, nearly around going off turn 2.
Yeah, 100% there. They keep it going straight though. The 24 rather made a little bit of ground on Nicholas Moreau the past lap or so. It made up a tenth of a second, so 4/10 separates first and second place, but he's still trailing a really fast 84 Jamie Knopp, Fred Moreau, and Daniel Simmons through this top 5.
Yeah, great run there off turn number 2 for Jose Acosta. He's been able to hang right in there with Nicholas Moreau, just not able to close it really. It's been about 5 to 4/10 of a second going around 3 and 4 this time. He still has that gap maintained the same. Nothing more about it. Here comes Knopf. He's going to try to probably go to the bottom, I'd say. Going into 1 and 2, he will. But the 24 cuts off that run. Fred Moreau follows him in tow. Also with Daniel Simmons, as the front 5 have pretty much breaking away from this front field.
Yeah, they have, and they're all running identical times within this top 5. Not one person is making an advantage, as they're all kind of trailing behind the 24 of Jose, coming off turn number 4 this time to get the completion of lap 154. Then A24 maybe slapped the wall just a touch. The 84 decides to not take a look to the inside, going through 1 and 2, knowing that maybe you're going to pass on the outside on this corner. Gets to corner exit here. He's going to slide up a little bit further than the 24 has to check up. And now will we see the 5 move down? He does. He's going to take a quick peek. Not able to make the progression there to get to 3.
I think my 2 things I'm looking for, Jeremy, right now is this 5 machine. We've seen how fast he is on the longer runs. What does he have on the short runs? He had it earlier with the back half of the field. Now, does he have the time? Does he have the opportunity to go and chase his teammate and family member Nicholas Moreau there? Or will Nicholas Moreau somehow fall off the pace? We saw there in the later runs, the 15 just wasn't there. Can he hold out now for another 12 laps? I want to say maybe around 5 to 8 laps to go. You might see that 15 trying to, fall off just a little bit, but we'll have to see. Look at Acosta trying to rip that outside. Just not enough momentum, but off turn number 4 has enough momentum to keep it side by side with Moreau back into 1.
He recognized the inside is no longer there, so he tries the top. It seems to work well for him. The 5 so close to the rear left quarter panel there of Jose, does not make contact, and they're going to still battle side by side down the back straightaway. Now Jamie Knopp kind of has a little bit of fresh air on the nose as he runs just outside the wake of the 15's line, 1 groove up. So will this play any part into 84 getting a chance back at the 57, or the 15 rather, as we have 10 laps to go?
Well, he just made up nearly about 2.5, 3/10 on that 15 here, Jeremy. And now with 10 laps to go, can Jamie Knopp get there? He's running that bottom side off the corners a lot better than Nicholas Moreau. I think where Nick kind of is strong, though, is off the corners. Into the corners, you see Jamie Knopp starting to close in a little bit. But then watch off corner. I think that Nicholas is just really backing up his entry to make sure he can get a better exit so he doesn't overdrive on entry, and it's working for him at the moment. But we know that 15, like I said, Jeremy, is kind of falling off on these later runs. What will he do here in these next 9 laps?
Yeah, we're going to find out the 84 has to be mirror driving just a little bit, as we know how fast Fred Moreau is, driving up through the field twice through this entire race, as he's just about a car length off. But yeah, I think the 84 right now is just trying to overdrive the entrance a little bit further than the 15, allowing the 15 actually has flipped the script a little bit, getting the good launch off corner exit. This past 2 laps, the 15 has been faster.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that Nicholas Moreau might just have enough, I think, to hold off now for these next 8 laps. But again, this is racing. You never know what's going to happen next. You could see this 15 be flying and all of a sudden fall off 3/10 on one lap. That's the thing. You have to be consistent every single lap, especially at a track here like Homestead, where we're not running the top right here late in the race. We're running this bottom side. Can he wrap that bottom better than those guys who are chasing him from behind?
And you know Fred wants to get to the inside of the 84 because that's going to hinder him even more from getting to his co-owner of the of Fred Nick Moreau Motorsports. And so if he can get that launch, he will try to get a stab at it for sure. Does not go for it this time, but 3 laps in a row, the 15 has been just slightly faster than the 84 of Jamie Knopp. Coming off turn number 4 of this time, we're going to get the 6 to go signal, and at the line, another half a hundredth advantage to the 15.
Yeah, and here comes the 5. He's on the bottom of this 84 machine. If he can clear him, I want to say, Jeremy, if this 5 doesn't clear him off turn number 4, I think that this 15 machine has the race, but they're still door handle to door handle going into 3 and 4. This 5 has to clear the 84, I think, if he wants any chance coming off 4.
3 wide, Jose putting his nose up there on the top and allowing the 84. Oh, and he hooks him, the 84 hard to the outside wall. 84 comes back down across the track, tried to take a swipe at the 24, did not get to him. Now the 84 is going to lose ground to Daniel Simmons, and now 19 of Richie Coy is going to be looking at him as well on the upper half of the track. But the 24 was there, late corner exit. I think Jamie Knopp just didn't recognize it and trying to battle everything he could from the 5 and just lost track of how strong of a run that 24 did on the top of turn 4.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't really see how the 24 would have come down considering he's all the way up at the top. He has that preferred landing he's been running. So I think the 84 definitely ran him up into the wall right there. Nothing of Jose is doing. We'll have to take a look at the replay possibly here before the end of the race, or after the race rather. But you see Fred Moreau back by 1.2 seconds. Just don't know if it's going to be enough. But here's the replay off turn number 4. Yeah, the 84 just doesn't cut the 24. He had the run, but I don't think he anticipated the 24 to be there. But this 24 has been ripping that top side so well that he had that run. And then, you see right here, this 84 machine just kind of running down the track. I wouldn't say he tried to give it a swipe. I think he's just trying to save it right there off the wall. The wheel's pretty much perfectly straight. It's just the car won't turn. He has a lot of damage on that right front.
Yeah, this is true. Their toe is definitely knocked out a little bit. Something of that nature in the suspension is not right. And the 84, as we're focusing back on the 24 there, that's Jose Acosta in third, looking to the outside of Fred Moreau. One of the very few drivers that is making this top half of this speedway work right now. 2 laps to go in the Homestead 250.
And he's going to cut right in front of Fred Moreau going into 1 and 2. And that's going to give him that second spot. But I just think it's going to be too little too late here, Jeremy, as they're coming around the second to last time through 3 and 4 as Nick Moreau looks to take the white flag.
1.5 second advantage. There is no way the 15's not going to win this race. As soon as he gets to the line, it'll be white flag. Next flag ends this event. So as long as he can keep this thing clean, he's going to be good to go here. White flag 1 to go, sponsored by absolutely nobody. 1.4 seconds separates the 15 from the 24. Fred loses a lot of ground through 1 and 2 that time, so the top 3 are all but locked into their positions. 15 final time through turns 3 and 4, and he is going to pick up his Martin Sports winning moment by having the cleanest car in the field, making all the right calls on the restarts. And the 15, Nicholas Moreau, is your winner of the Homestead 250.
Yeah, great run for this 15 of Nicholas Moreau. Like always, he's been one of the dominators on the 1.5 miles. Showed up at Kansas a few weeks ago, got that win, had a fast car at Vegas last week. We all know what happened there. And here he is tonight. Nice rebound for that drive in the 15 machine.
Yeah, 100% there. The 24 giving him a nice little congratulatory bump as he sails off now past him. And 15 is going to do a burnout here, and we'll go down the finishing order here for tonight's Homestead 250. Here comes co-owner Fred Moreau. Gives him a bump as well right before he gets down to pit road. And what a race. We had 7 cautions, 167 laps, no green-white checkers. Decent amount of position changes within the top 5 on the back half of this race, which is very expected late in the going of any championship. And as the 15 does his burnouts, here is the unofficial finishing results. Here presented by Mach-1 Performance. Nicholas Moreau P1, Jose Acosta 2nd place. Fred Moreau finishes in 3rd. Richie Coy 4th. Daniel Simmons 5th. Jamie Knopp in 6th. James Wall 7th. Brody Hanna 8th. Joseph Krahalva in 9th. In 10th place, 33, Sherwood Williford.
Top 20, Tony Solari comes home P11. Lane Allen, 12th, finds himself in a must-win situation going into next week. Alan Duranko, 13th. Michael Blackner, probably going to be the exact same outcome, a must-win situation for him. 14th. Ryan Hedrick, 15th. Johnson, Dublé, Crowell, that is all the way to 18th. Then you have 19th and 20th. Chad Lang, probably going to be a guy that's going to be flirting with that bubble next week if he wants to try to make it in next week at Martinsville. And then Chris Beck rounds out your top 20.
Yeah, it's a bad finish there for the Ford to try to compete for this championship, not what he needed this evening. 21st place, 22, Robert Malikian, 22nd, and on back, 1 lap down or more. That's the 17 of Steve Loomis, 31 of Jeff Chandler, 7 of Wayne Grassi, Kyle Milliken, Danny LaFleur, TJ Bartel, Ryan Chapman, Justin Diltz, Colton Gum, and Ben Tracy is your last place car here. Finishes 162 laps down in 31st place. And this is our time to take it to full screen. Commercial break. Be back shortly with your top 3.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome to the Nerd TV Martin Sports Post-Race Show, where we're going to try to talk to at least one, if not two, of our top 3. I do not believe Fred Moreau will have a microphone this evening. Right now, we do have Jose Acosta, I think, available at this time. So we're going to go ahead and bring in Jose into the Nerd TV booth. Jose, do you have a copy? Jose, I see you have your mic muted. This is Jeremy in the Nerd TV booth. Do you have a copy? A little bit of a technical difficulty. I do believe on the 24. We're going to move him back momentarily to the bottom. If I see his mic change, then I will bring him back in. But I think we just had the 15-year race winner, Nicholas Moreau. So I know this is our producer Dustin's quickest time ever, but we're going to load up the Mach-1 Performance Victory Lane scene. Nick Moreau, this is Jeremy in the Nerd TV booth. Congratulations on another win here in the Full Throttle Sim Racing Mach-1 Performance Cup Series.
Hi, thank you, thank you. It was not the race that we did last last week. We better for today, and yeah. So the car was great tonight, but was not the the fastest on the long run. But I work on the car every single pit, and the first stint I was way too loose on the exit. I fixed it, and the second stint was way better. And then I continue to change the cross weight in the pit, and then I was too much. I was tight in. So well, the car was good. Jamie was very fast on long run. Jose as well. But yeah, very happy to be there tonight.
You took my questions and you answered them beforehand, so I appreciate you for knowing what I was going to ask you, man. But um, just great run overall. I knew it was very mixed up with the restarts. So you had a great restart, then 84 would have a restart. I think Jose Acosta actually played a huge part into who led the first lap after the green flag was flying, because no matter who was in front of him, he would propel them out into the front. Is that something that kind of helped you make one of your final moves when you broke out to the race lead?
Yeah, for sure. I think that it helped me a lot because yeah, when you are fully clear to for the exit, it's an edge for us, you know. So yeah, thanks for him. But he was very fast on the shift gear, so I don't know what transmission he used, but it was very nice for him. But yeah, so I think with at the end it was like no managing tire at all. So it was very fun end of race tonight.
Yeah, 100% there. We're a blast watching you guys, and glad to see you able to pull it off here once more. Good luck to you in the final 2 weeks here in the 2023 C season and then the overall season for that matter. But I'm going to give you the floor of final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for sure. The last two races will be a lot of difference. I think it's Marty for the next one, and then Phoenix. It's gonna be fun for sure. If I can say something about Fred because he just uh, a bit too shy to speak in English there. So I will speak for him. He got contact. We didn't use the same setup, the exact same setup, and he was way better on long run than me. But his race was he got contact with pretty hard damage on the I don't know on the first caution I think. So yeah, the to climb the grid twice or something. So he battled hard for the podium. So he was happy about that. So yeah, thank you about sponsor Transit, of course. Go to Miami. Thank you guys. Thanks for the league and grass to everyone.
I'm going to sneak in one more question, just a real quick one. You mentioned Fred and you gave him his thoughts. Um, Why does this man not qualify? He does so well running up through the field. I'm sure it's a blast for him to pass a bunch of cars, which he did. He passed everyone twice except for you. How? What's his game plan going into these races, not qualifying?
We are not racing for the championship at all. So you just do that for fun. So you don't want to race like we do in practice alone on front of the field, you know. So you like it, and I think that everything, all leagues race, you do the same. So that's it.
That makes sense. I'm sure it's a blast for him to do so. But all right, man. Well, appreciate all the thoughts and speaking for Fred for us, and go on and celebrate the rest of the night, and we'll catch you next Monday.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Yep, you're very welcome. Now it's Nicholas Moreau driving the number 15 Transit Chevrolet Camaro, and we're going to try to bring in Jose one last time. His microphone's still showing muted, so we're going to up. Actually, you know what? I just said that, and he cleared it, so I think we're going to be okay. We can bring him in. Jose, this is Jeremy, the Nerd TV booth. You have a copy?
Yes.
We got you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Awesome, yes, sir. Got you now. So, yeah, man, congratulations on P2 tonight. Very stout run. It was very crazy middle half of the race here for the top five. There's a lot of position changes overall, and I mean that's very typical of Homestead from time to time. And I know you had some late race contact with the 84 there, none of which, to our advantage point, anyways, didn't see any issue from your end. Did it affect your car at all? And what could have you done different for the 15?
Uh Man, what a race. You're right. I think I had a long run car overall. Uh but that incident right there with the 84, I think he got loose a little bit exiting turn 4 or 5, went high too quick and he kind of like wiggles a little bit and I had to run. And I literally let go the gas, hit my brake about 15% so I could try to cut him off. And he came in too fast, and there was no way for me to go. So I apologize if I mean I don't know what else could I done. I mean I thought it was clear to me, and I thought he was going to give me the space, but he came up too quick. I just couldn't do anything after that. For Nicolas, man, he's fast. I think if maybe if I would have used the high line when I was second place, so I could get to him and somehow make him wear his tires a little bit more fighting with me, maybe something else could have happened. But I just couldn't get to him, and 5 actually caught me, 84 caught me, and I kind of thought about going to the high lane late, with 3 laps to go. So yeah, I mean, that was it.
All right, well, appreciate all that information there, and congrats once more on the P2. Awesome job. Back-to-back podiums, one last week, second place this week, so you're on a mission here to close out the rest of the season on a strong note for sure. Floor is yours, though. Final thoughts before we let you go.
I just want to give thanks for the league for having me here, and then always you guys do a good job in the broadcast like that. Um, Obviously, for my sponsor, which is the Wolfpack Crew.com, and that's it. Obviously,
man.
congratulations for Nicolas, and I forgot who finished third, and Fred for his third place as well.
Yeah, they did a great job as well. Appreciate all the kind words, man. Go and celebrate, and we'll catch you next Monday.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That was Jose Acosta, driver that number 24, the wolfpackcrew.com Chevrolet Camaro, and Jason. What a race here at Homestead.
Yeah, man, what a race. I mean, we saw a lot of comers and goers, but, more importantly, we saw a big shakeup tonight in the points, obviously, with Jeff Chandler having his issues, and then, I mean, Chad Lang having a subpar kind of night. And obviously more stories, with Robert Malikian and Lane Allen having to go into a must win, and Jamie Knopf almost winning. And now Jamie Knopf looks like he's going to be probably ahead of Jeff Chandler in points going into Martinsville. So who would have thought that one of the dominators of the season could be facing elimination next week in Martinsville? It's going to be an exciting one. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, 100% there. And if you're still watching, give a shout out to our producer Dustin in the chats, saying thank you for all the great cam work that he's provided you guys here tonight from the Nerd TV side. And we're going to thank all of our partners one last time before we let you go this evening. They'll show up on your right-hand side of your screen, which they are there now. Full Throttle Sim Racing. You're going to find them at FTSR.net. Check out all the points for the remainder of the season. Get yourself signed up for the 2024 season. They have a nice little Gen 4 off-season series that they have going on as well. So once again, it's FTSR.net. Mach-1 Performance Cup Series, your Monday night series sponsor. They're a race car fabrication shop that's produced champions and winners of all sorts of divisions. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach-1 Performance. Sim Racing Points takes care of all your league points and more with one simple upload of the race export. Very professionally built setup for your entire website to display all the points and stats that you'll need to make your website look professional. And that's at simracingpoints.com. Martin Sports, of course, your top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable. See their whole apparel lineup at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, get all of your notifications just a fraction of the second faster with a really cool 3D printed customized unit that has 64 LEDs. They bring up all the different notifications iRacing has to offer and a bright setup to complete your sim rig. And that's at iRacingIFlag.com. Butt kicker, get all the bumps and feels into your chair from the sim world. And if you want to do that to complete your setup as well, head over to thebuttkicker.com. Team Watson Racing Setups, quality, professional, built setups for your asphalt oval needs. Find them at teamwatsonracing.com. Dusty Pete's Gifts and Collectibles, hobby shop with a whole lot more. If collecting is the game, Dusty Pete's is the name, and you'll find them at dustypete's.com. And lastly, Roasted Gems Coffee, premium coffee beans roasted just for you. Start your day the right way with coffee from Roasted Gems. All right, guys, it's going to close us out here tonight here for the Nerd TV crew. I will come at you live tomorrow night, same time, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, for the RSR Next Gen Cup Series, as they're going to tackle the same track you watched tonight. And then that'll be us for the week, and return back the next following Monday for the final race in the round of 8 for the Mach-1 Performance Cup Series. You guys have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next week.